Oh, I'm already reading these comments. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the season premiere of No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast. The show is back, but a little different. Different faces, familiar faces, but different for this show. But we're excited to get it rolling. I'm excited to have with me the one and only Josh Kimmel, host of the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. Josh, how the hell are you, brother?
Pretty good, man. On this Saturday night, not watching Collision. What else would I be doing? Definitely not watching Collision. So yeah, this is a great night with you tonight to host the season premiere of No Holds Barred.
Season premiere, No Holds Barred. And credit to our original host, Alex and Alfred, what they were able to do. Of course, they ended up going another direction, but we're excited. I know Alex is watching right now, so excited for Alex to be watching right now and hopefully do it justice. But we're very excited because of what our plans are for this show, what we're looking to do. But before we get into, we're going to talk about SmackDown. Happened yesterday. To talk about SmackDown, we will touch on AEW, which is more of your forte. Talk about, because I know you're really into it, and I would love to know where you stand now on it. And I know you've shared that on Real Talk Wrestling, which is another show that you're on with Chris and Clutch. But I want to get it here, and we're going to talk. We're going to have fun for this episode, and we'll have fun as we continue to go on. But before all that, let's talk about you, Josh. Talk to me about your love of professional wrestling. What got you into wrestling? And we'll start with that, and then we'll get into who were your favorite wrestlers growing up.
So I had two brothers, all younger than me. One was a stepbrother, so he's like 3 months younger. So I still gave him that S about that. Like, hey, I'm still the oldest, even though it's only been 3 months. So natural, we're all wrestling together, always just fighting, wrestling. That's what boys do. 3 kids, just pulling the mattresses out in the front of the household. When the parents are gone, and we're doing 3Ds to each other. The move, the trampolines. That's what got me into it. The backyard videos, and all of a sudden I'm like, let me check this out. Let me see what the professionals are doing. And it was a totally different world. So I started watching WCW. Chris Jericho was my favorite of all time. Hooked me right away. The crybaby heel versions, all crybaby heels. I kind of relate to them. That's just the way I am personally. So that's what got me into it. The characters, the heels, the moves, the violence, the entertainment. Because back then there wasn't much entertainment in it, but the violence was the entertainment. And that's what I was into. And seeing, hey, what can I do to my brother? Hey, at that time, the Dudley Boys were popular. My youngest brother, is like 5 years younger than us. At that time, easily 3D that guy. Easily, right? And that's what we were trying to do. Do moves that they were doing on TV, even though they told us, do not try this at home.
Nobody ever listened to them saying that. First off, I know I want to get your top wrestlers, but I love your answer, and I know my mother's watching right now. I just saw her pop in there. Can we all get wrestling names? What was your wrestling name? I want to start off with that. What was your wrestling name?
My wrestling name?
Yeah.
The Kimmelnator.
Really? Like the Terminator?
Yeah, the Kimmelnator, though.
I like that. You're gonna have to send that to me, because now I have it. That's gonna be it, because mine's was, and you'll notice this, I was the Immortal One, Robert Michaels. My first email was Immortal One at Yahoo. And I was like you, first off, we used to have, just like we do with the network here. I would go out, we would have wrestling shows in our backyard. We would go wait for the ice cream truck and get the fire bombs and light those up at the entrance. We'd play the music. We had video cameras. We'd do storylines. I was a 14-time world heavyweight champion because I was that good. I was just great. Everyone else was a step behind me, and I fell in love, grew up watching WCW. I watched WWF. Not in the Attitude Era. The only reason why I really was into WWF was really because of Hulk Hogan, but I would go to Hollywood Video or Blockbuster. Hollywood Video would be when I would go to Carl Springs to visit my dad. Blockbuster would be in Hialeah when I go, I'd be at my mother's house. And I'd rent the old WrestleManias with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan, which I know I just came by a tweet when I said that I think they're the greatest announced team of all time. And you were like, you sent me Tony Schiavone. What the? And I was like, no, because I remember renting those on Hollywood Video and seeing the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan. But I was a diehard WCW guy. My brother Harrison just popped in the comments. He was Black Blade. So, and he was right beneath me on championships. He was like 12, I think. Oh. I was 14, of course, because I was that good. But man, we used to do some crazy stuff. We'd sneak out a mattress down the hallway, take it out in the backyard, lay it out. We'd have cage matches because we had a dog, and so we'd have that cage, and we did some stuff. My mother has all these videos, and we were just watching it recently, and man, we used to have a blast with that. And maybe we'll have some fun sneak peek videos. Maybe we'll throw those on here once in a while.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, take a look at some of our old stuff. I know Harrison would love that. My mother for sure. But now, now you said Chris Jericho was one. You love watching Chris Jericho. So obviously, in regards of my favorite wrestler growing up was Hollywood Hogan, Hulk Hogan. I was a diehard Hogan fan. Loved when he was Hollywood Hogan. Grew up on that. Ric Flair, Undertaker. But the WCW in regards to that was those guys there. I was always Hogan. When Hogan was red and yellow, I was with Hogan. NWO, let's go black and white. And then Hollywood, NWO Hollywood. But my favorite ones to watch, Scott Hall, Kurt Hennig, Savage. They could put up a match. I'm trying to. Arn Anderson was a lot of fun. I loved Arn Anderson. I kind of felt more into because Arn Anderson, and he was great in the ring, and he's a great talker too. But he didn't really have the look. He was kind of like an average dude. But you could tell he was the enforcer. But it was like I kind of felt like I kind of rolled with him. I was like, dude, I could. What's that called?
Relate.
Yes, relate with him. So I was like, dude, that's a badass dude right there. And so when he would come in and do the spine buster, badass. So Anderson, perfect. Scott Hall, one of the greats minds in wrestling, but one of the great wrestlers as well. Those guys were awesome. Were there any guys that when they were on, you were like, I'm tuning in to watch that?
There is, but let me piggyback on what you said about Arn Anderson. So a long time ago when I was a jerk on Twitter, because believe it or not, guys, I used to be one of those jerks on Twitter. I cooled it off when I got older. Somebody posted a picture of Kevin Owens cosplay at Comic-Con, and I posted, today's age wrestlers love Kevin Owens so much because they look just like him, yada, yada, yada. Kevin Owens is today's Arn Anderson. He's the everyday dude.
Taylor just wrote.
Oh,
right there, dude.
There you go. And that's what I said on Twitter a long time ago, and I felt really bad afterwards because that guy probably dressed up really well and wanted to be Kevin Owens. But you didn't realize back then Arn Anderson was 28. Already looking like a 50-year-old man.
Yeah.
Either way, the people I've tuned in to watch for WCW is what I grew up on as well. Kurt Hennig, which I'm still understanding. Is it Kurt Hennig or Kurt Hennig? I'll never know. Mandela effect. I really like to watch Billy Kidman, Juventud Guerrera. I really like the cruiserweights in WCW. That really brought me in there. But what made me stay was the Chris Jerichos, the Goldbergs, of course, the Scott Halls, Kevin Nash. I loved NWO Wolfpack. Are you kidding me? That was awesome. Sting, Conan. That was probably the golden age of me watching wrestling. And it really broke my heart when WCW went under and I was forced to watch that hillbilly show, WWF. Oh. I was just heartbroken. But those were the guys I watched, WCW. I never was a big Lex Luger or Hulk Hogan guy. I always liked the mid-card guys. Those were my guys.
See, yeah, I get that. And I was with you. I was a diehard WCW guy until, of course, when they closed up, and I wasn't happy. I was not into the WWF back then. But obviously, I think that, it kind of killed it. But I was with you watching those guys. Who was it? I'm trying to remember his name. I just thought WCW was fun. Obviously, the NWO was a blast, and I think it's probably the best faction in wrestling history. They did overdo it, obviously, but it was a lot of fun. And of course, as soon as I go live, my youngest walks in here half naked, touching stuff, and nobody is in sight, so I'm keeping my eye on her now. But all right, and there she is.
It's hey, you know what, little hornswoggle, Finley.
That's it. That's exactly what it is. It's hornswoggle. Hey, we're live. She's touching stuff, and we'll see once someone decides to pop in here. I might have to yell for someone to come grab her.
It's a running, guys.
It's a running. It's interference. But my goodness, so we got your guys back then. Who are your top 5 personal favorite wrestlers right now?
It's hard to say, man. Off the top of my head, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, those guys over in AEW do phenomenal work when they're healthy. Of course, Kenny Omega's out right now with some pretty serious injury. MJF, again, just a prodigy, the future of wrestling. More on the AEW side, but if we go over to the WWE side, Randy Orton is one of the best of all time. I posted about him on Twitter a year ago when he was hurt, all of his accolades. He comes back and he's a freaking superstar again. Everyone was hating on him because in his prime, because he was a boring wrestler. He wrestled too slow. right? He was calculated. That's what a freaking Viper does. That's what a heel does. He was playing this character. Now he's back as a babyface. He's the most over babyface next to Cody Rhodes and LA Knight. So he's one of my all-time favorites. Love that guy. And I'm gonna call him Edge. I don't care if he's going by Adam Copeland over there in AEW. Edge is an all-timer, top 5 for me ever, like ever. As you can tell, on the WWE side, I'm not a big fan of the newer guys. Like Gunther's awesome, but he's not up there in the top 5. Seth Rollins is awesome, but I hate his gimmick. You know, there's a bunch of guys up there. I just like the legends in WWE because I've been watching more of the AEW shows more than WWE. And Bobby's muted.
Baby's gone, so I don't have to be muted anymore. I apologize. But anyway, I'll say Harrison brought up Mount Rushmore. We'll talk on that. First off, MJF. Full disclosure, I'm not an AEW guy. I've gone in and out. It didn't really catch me. I got to start watching it more. I watched a little bit of it earlier today and yesterday. But MJF is one of my favorites. When I do sit down and watch, I've always his mic work. He's kind of that old traditional villain heel. You know what he does outside of the ring. I respect the hell out of that. I loved when he was the champion. It was fun to watch. What about the good old Phil Brooks, CM Punk? What about Phil Brooks?
That's an entire episode, Alex.
Yeah, that is a whole other thing. But we'll see how he does in the ring. Obviously, he came in and he was in and out. He got into Royal Rumble, got injured, and was out of here. So we'll see how he is when he comes back. I'll tell you what, he does make wrestling fun.
Mm-hmm.
He is an attraction. You could love him or hate him, but yeah, you had no idea she went in the room. I know. You could love or hate him, but there is no doubt that when he's in that arena, what he's able to do, not just to the audience, but what he does to the fellow wrestlers with him. For me, first I said MJF. I love watching him. I think he needs to be in WWE. He will blow the top off the roof if he goes to the WWE.
We disagree on that, but that's okay.
We're going to disagree on a lot of things. I know we are. We've done this so in the past. But again, when I see him, especially WWE right now, with Paul Levesque, Triple H running it, he will blow the roof off. Him and Cody Rhodes. They could run a program together. We know they're close. Cody Rhodes, for me right now, Randy Orton, Jey Uso. Love Jey Uso. Main event Jey. Charlotte Flair. You know that. You say whatever you want, brother. You know, she's the real deal.
Does anyone miss her? I'm asking for real life. Does anyone miss her?
I think you know what? To be truthful, the way the women's division is right now, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill. I'm going to butcher her name. Jade Cargill. Love her. You know, Becky Lynch and so Rhea Ripley. We're missing her right now. Charlotte Flair, who come on now.
Mm-hmm.
But when she comes, you know she's there. And when you put her in a match with anybody, it could be a 5-star match. That's Charlotte Flair. Let's just be real. I love watching Charlotte.
Let me check the Meltzer ratings.
Oh, I don't give a damn about Dave Meltzer. Don't come up with that. Tell me about Dave freaking Meltzer. Get out of here. No, but now who is your wrestling Mount Rushmore?
Man, that's so tough. It changes.
It is tough.
It changes.
It changes.
Like if I had to put the one, so to me, like my Mount Rushmore, like it's not my favorite. It's the most important people in wrestling history. Is that correct? Is that a correct?
That's fair. Yeah. Well, there's different ones. There's WWE and then there's wrestling, right?
Let's just go pro wrestling. Like
let's go pro wrestling.
If you go pro wrestling, then Vince McMahon has to be the first person on there. Without Vince McMahon, there's no WrestleMania. But I don't want to put him on there, right? It's like taking down statues at this point. And plus, he's destroyed television for the past 15 years. So did he do more harm to the business than good? No one knows yet. Honestly, it's got to be Hogan. It's got to be Flair. It's got to be Austin, right? I think Austin. And then that fourth one, that's the tricky one.
That's the hardest one.
It can go, to me, it can go Jericho for what he's done. It could go Jericho for what he's done, for sure. It could easily go Sting for being such an icon in a different era. He succeeded and did so much without WWE. Not many people can say that. Or it could be Taker. There's so many options. So for me, if I had it like gun to head, Sting would be my fourth.
So the first three, I'm with you. Again, it's that fourth one that's hard. Hulk Hogan, he put wrestling on the map. He blew it up. You know, of course, under Vince McMahon, who led the WWF, Hulk Hogan was the guy. And if, you know, you may not be a fan of wrestling, but you know who Hulk Hogan is. Easy. Ric Flair, what he means to the wrestling business as a whole, fans believing him, loving him, whatever. It's Ric Flair, 17-time world champion, 16-time world champion, should be more, but they don't recognize the other ones. It's Ric Flair. Steve Austin, when Hulk Hogan left, went to WCW, WWF kind of flatline. It was all cartoon characters, whatever. WCW took the ball, made the NWO. WWE lost. That's why 83 weeks for Eric Bischoff. Steve Austin goes to WWF, reinvents himself or becomes himself, and basically becomes the next pillar, which Hulk Hogan was. It was Steve Austin. To me, the pillars were Hogan, Austin, Cena. And I would say Roman is probably the next one right there, right? So those guys, they're in that sphere, and Cena is getting there, or Cena, he's in that status. But when you come to that fourth one, I would say I'll tell you what, you said Chris Jericho. I thought that was very interesting. Sting, absolutely is a lot. But you got to, for me, it's these two guys, it's kind of gels with each other. Is either it's Taker or Andre.
Okay.
Andre the Giant, for what he meant to wrestling. Again, another, box office attraction. And, you may not like wrestling, but you knew who Andre the Giant was. And he kind of helped put that on the map. And of course, WrestleMania 3, when Hogan slammed Andre. And then Undertaker, that's another conversation, because Taker, again, what he means not only to WWF, but he means to wrestling business. The leader in the locker room and the aura he has on him. That fourth one is just so damn hard. But if I had to get before, I would say it would probably be the Undertaker.
So can I ask you this? So WrestleMania happened in April. We had the big main event, Cody Rock. We had the run-in from The Rock. One of the guys that could be. We didn't even mention him in the Mount Rushmore. We didn't even mention him, but he should have been in that conversation.
He's in the conversation, The Rock, for sure.
Then you had Cena. He was just mentioned in the conversation. They all got huge pops when they came out to interfere to run their spot. Taker showed up. People did cheer in the arena or in the stadium because it was Taker, because it was the moment. But all of us sitting at home.
Well, we wanted someone else.
Exactly.
We didn't,
So hold on. So let me explain this real quick. Everyone else got huge pops and huge, this was awesome. The only person that was disappointed, if he was a true aspect or contender for this Mount Rushmore spot, nobody would have groaned during Taker. Nobody would have. We wanted Austin. We did. It was a big disappointment. I was never a Taker fan. I'm still not a Taker fan.
Really?
I think he puts on great matches. Honestly, my favorite match of all time, Taker's involved. Taker and Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania. My best match. Not number 2, number 1. But they're both phenomenal. But I never bought the character. The character to me was lame, especially when American Badass. I'm not a gimmick guy. I don't want to see the gimmick. I want to see the person. That's why when I said Seth Rollins is awesome earlier, terrible gimmick. I don't want to see laughing Joker face Seth. I want to see Seth freaking Rollins. I want to see when he said I'm Seth freaking Rollins, not Samantha Irvin going, now he's Seth freaking Rollins. That's the character that sucks. I want Seth Rollins. Just like Undertaker. I don't want a character. I want someone more like Edge, who has a gimmick name, but he is Edge. He's a person, not a dead man. That's what my disconnect with him and Bray Wyatt, which we probably get to later on. I get away from those gimmick characters. I can't connect with them at all. And wrestling's all about connections and what we do. I connect with these characters because they make me feel. A dead man can't make me feel, even if he's evil. I can't feel hatred towards him because I know it's phony. That's why I never got involved with the Undertaker.
That's interesting. Undertaker was great. It's great for the pop. The dead man gimmick. It's great for the pop. When you hear that gong, everybody go, oh, there's 2 versions of Undertaker that I absolutely loved. The American Badass. Love that version of The Undertaker. Especially when he was Big Red, when he was the undisputed champion and beat the hell out of Jeff Hardy and beat the hell out of Ric Flair. And, he was just the bad guy. And I love that Undertaker. Mark Calloway, really. That's, Then there was the corporate ministry Undertaker. First off, I love the music. And that was legit. That was more villainous than the dead man walking out, slow to the ring and people getting scared in the ring. It's like, would you really? You know, I understand that, but those were my two versions of it because they felt more real. They felt more real. I understand that. I'm surprised. I am surprised because it's The Undertaker, but right. I respect it. I respect it. So you weren't into Bray Wyatt.
So yeah, I get a lot of hate for this. I never thought Bray was a good. Okay, let me just clear this up, because a lot of people are like, "Wow, like you really cared when Bray passed." I'm like, I did care, because I would listen to his interviews. I would listen, because that's where I can connect to the guy. That's why I listen to podcasts so much. Not even just the wrestling podcast, just all podcasts. I like to connect to people. I want to know people's stories. So when I listen to Bray on Chris Jericho's podcast, or I listen to Bray here or there, or I listen to Matt Hardy talk about Bray on his podcast, like I got to know Bray through other people and through himself. But when he's in the WWE and he's wrestling as, you know, the Fiend, or he's wrestling as this, you know, this character that's unrealistic, and the whole Uncle Howdy stuff, that just pulls me away from wrestling. If he was just Bray Wyatt family, the original, when he first came in, man, sky's the limit. But when he starts getting the spooky stuff and teleporting, and that, to me, there's a fine line between, I'll just say this, there's a fine line between Finn Balor and the Demon. The Demon works because we know it's still Finn Balor, and he's just in a battle paint. Whereas Bray Wyatt, we saw Bray Wyatt, and then he transformed into a literal demon. And I'm like, that's not real, people. Like, I still need my stuff to be somewhat realistic.
See, I'm reversed. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm not, you know, not crapping on your opinion. I'm reversed. I can't stand the demon bit, Finn Balor. You know, all he does is throw pain. All of a sudden, he's doing all this tongue out shit, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's like it's the same dude. Just beat the hell out of him. He's this little tiny dude with face paint on." You know, the demon versus the Fiend. Where again, I see wrestling. See, and maybe I don't know. Maybe this is why you went to you more AEW guy. But for me, WWE has always been more of the cinematic. You know, there's storytelling. There, you know, you have those characters, and you know, so again, I like the Fiend. I wasn't a big Fiend guy. It was more Bray Wyatt. I'm with you on that. I think he was one of the great minds. I mean, the way he would and how much he honed his craft and how he was. But I like the original Bray Wyatt with the family, the Wyatt family. What I would have loved is if Undertaker was the heel, and you figured out later on that Wyatt family was orchestrated by the Undertaker. I think that was a missed opportunity. But to me, I understand it. I don't hate it. You know, I'm not a big into it thing, but I like the pops. I like the, you know, the kind of, but the Fiend thing, oh God, I can't stand when he comes. I'm not the Fiend, the Demon comes out. I just like, are you kidding me, dude?
One of the best entrances in all.
He looks, tongue is out, like get out of here, dude. What are you doing? It's the same dude.
One of the best.
I love Finn Balor as a professional wrestler, but Finn Balor is one of the best. But that gimmick.
Nah. One of the best entrances where Smokey and he comes out crawling and like, dude, it's one of the best. Like, I don't know. That's just me. Which, you know what? This goes to everyone, all the tribalists and all the people on social media, on X, and all the haters out there. Wrestling's what you want it to be. If you want it to like it for this situation, like you like the serious actor, you like the professional wrestling, there's avenues for that. If you like the gimmicks and that, there's avenues for that. Raw, SmackDown, not so much AEW these days, but there's something for everybody in the show. Like, I just watched 3 hours of Raw today, and there was something for literally everyone. My kid, me, you know, my wife, everyone had something that they could have enjoyed. And that's the beautiful thing about wrestling. That's why we all watch it. It's lovely. I love it so much. So we can have these conversations.
Yeah, 100%. No, and everybody has a right to an opinion and how they see it and how they feel about it, whether they like or hate it, whatever. You can't gatekeep fans, you know, how they want to be a fan. I think it's, you know, as much as, like, again, you know, I want to talk about AEW, and we can go segue into that, because when AEW became a thing, first off, WCW and WWE was the best thing. When WCW went down, that was worse for wrestling. It was terrible. You know, you take away, obviously, another option for not just the fans, but for the wrestlers. You felt it. That's why I thought when they did the brand split, Raw and SmackDown, they did the original draft, and you know, you had The Rock on Raw, you had Austin on. I mean, you had The Rock on SmackDown, and Hogan, and The Rock on SmackDown. You had Austin on Raw. I love that. That was fun. It felt kind of like, and you could tell that they genuinely were competing against each other. TNA kind of showed up. They kind of little by little got bigger. They got to a certain little point, and then they fell off the face of the earth again. And now it seems like they're kind of picking a little thing back up. They've kind of gone back to their forte, and I'm excited to see what they can do. AEW comes. What's great about it is they didn't start small. They went really big, really fast. And is anyone on AEW doing this? He's just coming in on you, bro. But with Tony Khan's money, they with Cody Rhodes, Chris Jericho, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, they got some big names, not just from the WWE side, but around the world, New Japan. And so it's like, okay, wait, this could be a real deal thing. And it just kind of, for me, watching it, obviously, if you want to see you want those dream type matches, you want the fun, whatever, watch AEW. But if you want some storytelling, whatever, that's how I kind of fell off. It was always kind of like some random shit they threw at the screen, and I'm kind of like, I just don't get it. But you were, I don't want to say that, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you tell me if I'm right. I know you were really into AEW. You were a defender of AEW. I know you kind of got off it. So talk to me about the beginning, the middle, the end right now, where you're standing on AEW, your feelings on them overall.
Okay, so I was one of the guys who always like, what's the Bullet Club? What's that? What's going on with the Bullet Club? What is the Bullet Club? What is what is this Tokyo Dome they're talking about? What's Wrestle Kingdom? I was always interested in that, but I never really tuned in. But I would see clips here and there, Kenny Omega, the Bucks, Marty Scurll, can't really say his name in wrestling anymore. All these guys out here doing their thing and the independents too as well. I'm like, what's going on? So I tuned into YouTube, start watching Being the Elite, the Young Bucks YouTube show, start to really know these guys. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting here watching Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom on my cell phone during the middle of the day at work, because that's the first time Chris Jericho's wrestled outside WWE in probably 20 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time I saw Kenny Omega actually wrestle. And I'm like, I got to see more of these guys. I don't know who this Kenny Omega is, but he's freaking awesome. Like, the rumors were true. So then I start watching more Being the Elite, and I get to know, like, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, yada, yada, yada. Then all of a sudden they put on an indie show called All In with Cody Rhodes, with, all these guys that you see on AEW. Rey Mysterio was there, guys. There was a lot of people there that you probably
there was about. Yes.
And I fell in love. I'm like, this is going to be a thing. And then all of a sudden, they weren't a thing because they were a T-shirt company. Everyone made the joke. They're just a T-shirt company. They're selling T-shirts. It took them a long time to get a deal, but they finally got a deal. I watched the first episode. It was Sammy Guevara versus Cody Rhodes. Right then, I'm like, this is awesome. This is professional wrestling. Cody Rhodes is back on TV. The guys I've been watching on YouTube are on national TV. This is going to change wrestling forever. Then you had rumors of Moxley, because at that time, Moxley was doing that stupid Bane gimmick where he thought every city stunk, and he was feuding with Seth Rollins, and he just hated life. Like, that was one of the worst gimmicks ever. And all of a sudden, Moxley goes over there. He feuds with Kenny Omega right away. And I'm like, nothing could get better than this. Literally nothing. And here's what happened to AEW. Tony Khan let everything get to his head. Tony Khan became Vince McMahon. Tony Khan has ruined his own business, and he's really ran away with his two biggest stars ever. Think about the two biggest stars in WWE right now. Both of those guys, and I want all of you watching, and I want all of you everywhere to understand this, all you tribalist morons. Cody Rhodes would not be the big star he is without AEW. CM Punk wouldn't be back in professional wrestling without AEW. Period. So I'm thankful they're still around. I still watch them weekly, but man, they're bad right now. It is unwatchable nonsense. Nothing makes sense. It seems like somebody had a good idea for a good book, and they wrote it all in their heads, because the first year, Bobby, the story was amazing. The stories they told were better than anything you've seen on television, minus the Bloodline stuff. It was phenomenal stuff. The Adam Hangman Page Kenny Omega storyline that ended with Adam Page finally winning the title, that was a 5-year story they were telling on YouTube on Being the Elite. Now, I understand they rely on their fans to know all that stuff, but that story went on for years before television, before AEW was a thing. That was a huge payoff for me. And then after that, they never recovered because they ran out of stories. It's like they had one big story, and then that's it. And then they lose Cody Rhodes, they lose CM Punk, and honestly, they lost all creativity. And all it is dream match, dream match, dream match, which is fine. It's the home of professional wrestling. I didn't think that they can make Mercedes Moné insufferable, but they have.
Oh man, I caught one of her promos. I caught a couple of her promos because I heard that it's just been bad, and I said, "Come on, this is." Of course, to me, it's Sasha Banks. I know Mercedes Moné, but I was like, "Come on, it ain't that." And dude, what the hell? Like, is it her? I know because it's a lot more freedom to the wrestlers. I know they give a lot more freedom in regards of stories. You know, hey, you're gonna build the story with your guy you're working with, whatever. I know I think she has some writers, but I don't know what is it. Was it Cody? Was Cody the one really like, hey, you know, the EVP? Of course, you know, he was really the one who kind of pushed that. Tony got behind him, but was he the one who was really kind of saying, here, let's get these stories out. And then notice when he left, the storytelling kind of went down. I thought Bully Ray, I was listening to Bully Ray and Eric Bischoff, Bubba Ray Dudley, for those who don't know. They were talking about that. And they were talking about, well, and they basically said what you were saying in regards of Tony Khan, you know, and saying, you know, and Eric asked Bully, you know, hey, would you be the booker? And he says, I don't want to be the booker. I said, I would never want to be the booker. He says, you know, you tell me what the match is, tell me and I help build you that story. How do they get there? And I think that's what's missing with AEW. You know, if they could just really get back to that, because they got the talent. We all know they got you know, Will Ospreay had what do you know? Dave Meltzer says a 5-star match with Bryan Danielson. You know, they have that. They could do that. You know, and they'd be two very good companies kicking ass with each other. But really, it's like that's why I roll my eyes every time if I ever go and I pass by a Tony Khan thing or a Will Ospreay saying some shit about Triple H. It's like, what are you doing? You're not on the same level. Don't do that. Don't compare because you're not comparing. You're not on that same level. You know, and you know, he called. What did Tony Khan call WWE?
The Harvey Weinstein.
I was like, come on, dude. What are you doing, bro? Like, it's like, you know,
he's embarrassing himself every week. And Josh Wingate, thank you so much for letting me know my microphone was not working correctly. I switched to the right input.
Oh, there is that. It was okay. I saw him right there. I thought he was picking. But that's my thing. If Tony Khan like went and I don't know who he could go to. I really don't. I'm trying to think. Of course, I do think I always thought Bully Ray would be great in regards because he's learned under Paul Heyman. You get a group of those guys together and say, hey, help me make these stories work. That's gonna work. But it doesn't seem like he really gives a damn. You have Jim Ross there who learned under Vince McMahon. You would think that he, you know, hey, Jim, you know, of course, Jim Ross is probably 1 foot out the door at this time anyway. You got Arn Anderson back there. You got legitimate guys who know how to tell stories, who know how to build stories, who are, you know, again, you're the boss. You could say, hey, I know I want this guy to be champion. I want this. Okay, that works. But let us build that story. I think that's what's missing. Is there anybody? I mean, I don't know if you could throw a name outside. I mean, if Paul Heyman was a free agent, that's the automatic go, right? Mm-hmm. But is there anybody in AEW right now that you'd be like, okay, hey, look, if I had to give the storyline keys, let's say you're Tony Khan and you're going to, you know what? I'm going to take a back seat in regards of the writer. I don't know why the hell he's the writer anyway, but I'm going to give the keys to someone else. Who's that guy? Who would you say I'm going to give the keys to?
Man, it's so difficult because you had William Regal back there too. You had William Regal.
You had Regal at 100%.
You know, you really dropped the ball letting him go. You dropped the ball letting a lot of guys go. But the reason why they wanted to leave is because of Tony Khan. And then you realize that all the things that Jim Cornette and all these other guys were saying was true. So if I had to name one guy, it'd be nobody because the more years and the more months pass, the more I see the truth that these guys are yes, sir. Yes, sir. Keep spending me, paying me money. Like if the rumors are true and Okada's getting all that money, for what? Okada hasn't done anything to prove anything. You're paying Mercedes all this money. These people just go there for retirement. You think Adam Copeland went there truly to, be a company man over there and to put on banger matches? I'm sure it's awesome, but it's because of the money. Like he could have had it made in WWE. He had it set, but honestly, they didn't pay him as much as AEW. I don't know if it's beyond saving to me at this point, Bobby. I think they're going to end up being like the next TNA. When they're I told Chris Kyle this on Real Talk Wrestling. When their TV deal's done, they're done because they're just going to be on Spike TV or channel 183 at 2 a.m. They're going to be
See,
that kind of, and it's going to be sad.
It's crazy that you said that because I remember some AEW fans kind of got on me a little bit because I said it reminded me of TNA when especially, I said, I just, every week, like you said, they give all this money to Okada. They give all the money to Mercedes Moné. I don't think she's wrestled one match. I don't think, and again, it's because you want to bring in this star power. Nobody really knows. I mean, if you're, I guess like, if you follow everything, you would know who he is and what he's done and all that. But, national wrestling fans don't know who he is. You put all that money on the table. It's just kind of it doesn't make any sense. You're just doing it to get names, and then you don't know what to do with them.
I got something to say on that. And this brings back the MJF thing where you're like, oh, he should be in WWE. So we didn't even get to today's, we didn't even get to Raw or SmackDown, but when CM Punk made the comment on Raw in his promo where he says that Drew McIntyre is a choke artist, like I'm a different kind of choke artist.
Yeah.
Mentioning, the crowd was dead. Crickets. Because guess what? People, it's hard. Everyone thinks, and this is the biggest problem with Tony Khan. He thinks professional wrestling fans are always on Twitter, and that's all that is. Newsflash. It's not true. So here's the thing. Tony Khan and that company, they wrestle for the Twitter likes. The problem is, everyone else that's not on Twitter, who doesn't know who Jack Perry is, guess what? They're also not going to know who MJF is at this point. They barely knew Jade Cargill. At this point, like the biggest stars in AEW, I hate to say it, they won't cut it out unless you're Cody Rhodes, who's a well-established person. Or if John Moxley goes back, Bryan Danielson, Malachi Black, those guys will be celebrated. Those guys will look at Andrade right now.
Yeah. But that's why Cody Rhodes made the best decision, like walking away, doing what he was able to do, and to come in and come off on a high and come in the way he did. Now look, he's the face of wrestling, basically. To be able to do what he's been able to do. I will say, you look at, you're right? But look what they were able to do with Cade, with Jade. It was a slow burner. They promoted her. It's like back in the day before Rey Mysterio, when Rey first came to WWE, they didn't just bring him back. They didn't put him on TV. No, they heavily promoted. They showed the mask. They showed flashes of the WCW highlights. And then they brought him out, and everybody was going nuts. And now look, he's a Hall of Famer. Same thing with Jade. They promoted her. They said she's coming. She had a mega thing. And now, you think about, we're going to get into SmackDown. She had that match with
Piper Niven.
Yes, and they had a damn good match. I mean, and I mean, she showed her strength. I mean, Piper is talented, no joke. But damn, I mean, and of course, Naomi and Nia Jax had a fun match too as well. Did you disappear on me? You still there? We'll see. There he is. All right. So you disappeared. What happened?
I'm the House of Black's 5th member.
Oh, is that what that? I was gonna say you pulled an Undertaker. The lights went out. But no, I understand that. But I think that, and I know you brought it up earlier. See, that's a great point. He said that. I knew what it was because obviously I follow wrestling in general about what's, they did the video. I thought that was so stupid that they did it. Whatever. When he said that, nobody really reacted. Nobody. They kind of just, it was like, I was like, because again, they don't give a damn. They don't know anything about what that crap, and it's like play, that's, and to me, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm saying, how can I get the average wrestling fan or maybe a WWE fan to want to watch what we're doing? What story could I do? What story can I make with the talent that I have? Because you got the talent. What story can I make that's going to want the average wrestler or someone like Josh Kimmel or someone like who was watching and went away or was starting to pull away, or a Bobby who's never watched or really watched? How can I bring them in to watch this? They don't have that right now. I watched the Swerve and Christian promo. Swerve is the world champion of AEW, and with Swerve, first off, the crowd was dead. He was losing me a minute into it. Like, he was trying so hard, and I'm gonna watch this man. I'm gonna give full disclosure. I haven't seen him wrestle, so I can't say anything about it. You'll let me know. I know you liked him when you liked Swerve. Yeah.
Oh,
phenomenal. Good.
Phenomenal. Great.
Okay.
The problem is there's a problem right now, which we can get into in later shows. They're making him the Roman Reigns. As in, remember when Roman Reigns was bad babyface, where nobody wanted him as babyface?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. Traditional babyface promos, bro. Swerve got over because he was a heel that was doing cool things.
Well, that's what the vibe I got from him was that he was sort of that he had that heel in him because he said, "Oh, I used to do all this back then," and and he said something that kind of to get a cheap pop, and nothing happened, and that's kind of like, ooh, that was kind of awkward,
But he's not doing the stuff he was doing, and that's what got him over. And that's the problem with AEW and WWE as well. They don't know how to really book baby faces. Nobody does. It's hard to book a baby face. Once that baby face becomes champion, right away people want that belt off them right away. And that's a huge problem with AEW and WWE. It's always been a problem because we want the pursuit. We want to see the baby face chase. We don't want to see him win. Well, we want to see him win, but we don't want to see him. Look at Bayley right now. How cold is she right now?
Very.
Ice cold. We wanted to see the pursuit, and she finally did it. Now we don't care. Cody's not at that point yet, but he will be. There'll be people turning on him very soon, just like they did in AEW. It's going to happen.
I want to talk about that. I do, and we're going to get into Cody more in depth towards a little bit, but I want to talk about SmackDown. I want to talk about actually the direction they're going with King and Queen of the Ring in the main event with Cody versus Logan Paul, champion versus champion. That was announced on SmackDown. Let's get into it. Let's talk about SmackDown. That opened the show. Nick Aldis, again, started off a little dead, kind of dead a little bit for him, and he wasn't really, he didn't seem like he was very much, he didn't have that oof in his voice. He was kind of like, and I brought you out here to bring out the world undisputed champion, Cody Rhodes, and I was kind of like, okay. But he says, I'm going to introduce you to, you're the fighting champion, which I love. I think that's cool. Here's your next opponent. It's Logan Paul. So that announcement is made. First off, you could love or hate Logan Paul. You could, be annoyed, whatever you want. No doubt that he is very entertaining in the ring. He's very good. He commits to it. It's fun. I think the champion versus champion thing makes it more interesting. And I guess you're just kind of filling in the blanks until The Rock comes back, or Roman, which Roman obviously is going to be a bloodline thing. We're going to get into that. But what do you think of this match? Are you excited about? I didn't like the back and forth with them. I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the chemistry there. Maybe the match is a lot better. We know Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles just put up a killer match. I would have loved to see part 2 right away of that. But maybe for another day. But Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes, champion versus champion. What's your after watching that yesterday, what's your gut feeling? What did you think of that promo between the both of them and that match going forward at King and Queen of the Wing?
So is it going to be title versus title? I missed that part.
Yeah, because Cody, I was with you. First he said champion versus champion. I saw that, and then Cody said, "Oh, I'm glad the United States, because I'm going to be a Grand Slam winner when I beat you."
Okay.
So it is title versus title.
Okay. First off, I hate that. I hate title versus title, especially in Cody. How does he drop the title? Does he vacate it? That's the first thing that goes through my mind. Now that I know this, it's awful. I think it shouldn't happen. But for the match itself, I'm excited for it. Cody puts on bangers no matter what. Cody's a professional. Cody's one of the best wrestlers in the world. He always has been. Logan Paul, I understand why they're doing it. It's a big match, right? Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Saudi. Yeah,
that's why they're doing it, because he's the he was there last year with Roman. That's why they're doing it. It's because of the Saudi thing. Now, I don't think Cody's a great promo. I think Cody's one of the worst promos in the whole business. I'd rather listen to Mercedes Moné over Cody. Over 1,000%. At least she looks good. All right, at least she looks okay. Like, she looks awesome, actually. Whereas Cody, it's every word is he feels like he's gonna cry, and he over pronunciates everything, and he tries to find the biggest word that they could possibly find in the dictionary.
Acting classes. He always talked about how his dad gave up his Rolex to put him in acting classes, and every time I listen to him, or he starts to get choked up, and I assume some of it's real, but a lot of times I feel like those are those acting classes again. There they are.
And every time he gets choked up, that's when people started turning on him in AEW. I was at a show. Listen, AEW doesn't come to Tampa. They don't come here. But the one time they did. No, actually it was in Orlando. I had to go to Orlando. It was an AEW still, and it was when he was feuding with Malachi Black. We booed him out of that building. We let him have it the entire time, from the moment he stepped out to the moment that match was over. and he was a babyface. But, and I'll mind you, listen to this. After the show, when the cameras were off, he cut a promo. Thank you for coming out. We all, thank you, Cody. Thank you, Cody. You know why we did that? Because AEW fans, and this is not even what we were talking about, AEW fans know it's a work. Like we will boo you because it's part, we want you to turn heel, but we still like you. But during the show, we want it out to Tony Khan so he knows. We want the fans to know. We want you heel. You're a better heel than babyface. We want you to be a heel. After the show, thank you, Cody. That was awesome. Woo! We're all clapping for him, cheering him. WWE fans won't do that. So guess what? We're going to get this awful Cody Rhodes for the rest of our lives. It's going to be miserable. I hate his promos, and none of his promos ever make me happy or excited to watch anything he does. Roman Reigns, when he was feuding with him, his promos did not. I want to shake your hand. All this crap he said to him was like, this is awful. This is the worst Cody Rhodes ever. I want to see Bullet Club. They miss an opportunity with AJ Styles and Cody because they have history. Guess what, guys? In New Japan, when they're feuding over who's the number one, who's the leader of the Bullet Club, I don't know if y'all saw that. They didn't tie anything in. Nothing. It was just lame-ass Cody. Now we're getting lame-ass Cody again. I don't know what they can do to spice it up.
So I love that you brought that up, and we're gonna get into it towards the end there with Cody Rhodes because your guy, The Undertaker, just talked about him. He's brought that up about heel Cody. He thinks he needs to be heel. He thinks he's a heel under wraps. You know, he thinks his best work would be as a heel. He sees a lot of heel work out of Cody. Who else said that? Kevin Nash, I think they're opposite ends of that. I think it was Bully Ray. He called him the Anakin Skywalker. He just needs his Emperor Palpatine, who would be Paul Heyman, to bring out the heel in Cody Rhodes. So we're going to get more into that. I love that you said that, and I wish it was towards the end because we could segue right into it. But that's okay. So we'll get through this here. Naomi versus Nia Jax, Queen of the Ring. I thought it was fun. It was okay. I thought there was some cool spots with the Hurricane off the top. Surprise Jax beat Naomi, but I kind of like that they're kind of pushing her up a little bit. Very quick, what did you think of that match?
I'm not surprised at all. It was an 8-minute, 21-minute match. Not surprised for the outcome. And I will say this for every single first round matchup. This is why I hate WWE tournaments. Tournaments in general, actually, especially WWE. It's super predictable. We know who's going to be in the finals almost every tournament.
Oh yeah, now, I looked at it. I don't have it in front of me now, but I'm with you. I think I already know what's going to happen.
I have it in front of me right now, and I'm looking at the brackets, and I'm thinking, well, Nia Jax is going to win because she's been getting over, and Naomi came back to be a jobber. She's lost every single match since she's been back from TNA. She did the best work of her career in TNA. She comes back to be a jobber. Don't understand it, but it is what it is. I thought it was okay. Nia Jax to me is a channel changer. When she's on TV, I turn away. I'm not gonna lie. I did watch this match because Naomi's awesome. Not surprised by it, but we are getting into the second round. Those matches are awesome. Every single match almost is awesome in the second round. I like the way they did that. We'll give you 16 people from each, 16 women, 16 men. The first round is going to be a bunch of jobber matches, but second round, dude, they're looking good. They are looking phenomenal.
I think, are we both? I mean, I think the way that, at least this, I think it's the right side. I'm not sure. You have it in front of you, but Bianca Belair and Cargill are going to end up facing each other, I think, right? In the final or the semifinal.
If Cargill could beat Nia,
I think she has to. They're not going to make her lose to Nia Jax.
That's the problem with this. And when we get to the Cargill match, WWE doesn't like to make their talent lose right when they get there. They don't. So it's going to be different. Something's going to have to happen where she loses in a funny way.
Yeah, well, maybe. I think that it'd be a surprise for sure. I just think that's just her versus the tag team champions, which I think that's very cool that they're the tag team champions. I think it makes it more real, believable. It makes me more invested in the women tag team championship. But I think it'll be a lot of fun to see the two tag team champions going at it, as talented as they are. And obviously Belair would carry her, and she's getting better, but I think he would carry her. And then of course on the men's side, you could voice your disagreement. You don't have to just shake your head.
I just don't think she's ever going to get it.
Really?
Yeah. She's all looks. Look, people can get by that. Men get by it with their bodies, the way they look, the way they carry themselves, the charisma. Hogan did it his whole career. Hogan did it his entire career. He was never a great wrestler. He got over by his looks, his gimmick, his the way he presented himself. I'm not saying she's Hulk Hogan, but she's never going to get it. That match was sloppy. She doesn't know what's going on half the time. She's trying to always, like, you saw Piper whisper in her ear multiple times. Every time Jade would take a bump. By the way, props to Jade. That's the most bump. That's the most bump she's ever taken in her entire career in one match. Like, I counted them, and I texted Chris Koffler, my buddy. I'm like, hey, Jade actually took a bump. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, she took about 15. And
yeah, there was a one that I think Piper ran into her in the corner. Yeah, I was like, God dang! I was like, okay,
there was a time where she kicked Piper in the face for real, and that stuff's got to get ironed out. And
sure,
look, I'm rooting for her. I think she's awesome. I really am rooting for her, but I don't think she's ever gonna get it.
I will say about Hulk Hogan, watch his stuff in Japan. He was smart. That's why he was big as he was. He knew he just had to do a big boot and a light drop pop. He had to pump up, and that's why his career was so long. But there's some matches in Japan that I've seen that I'm like, where the was this? I would have loved if he would have done. So I'm thinking of the move right now where you're holding the leg and you kick the leg in the back of the head. I'm trying to remember that.
Right the Enziguri.
Yes, he did that, and I'm like, dude, can you imagine? USA Hulk Hogan, like I'm talking about in the US, if somebody did that and he pulled that, people would go crazy. It's like, where the hell was that? But I get it. I get your point there. Baron Corbin versus Carmelo Hayes. That was a fun match. I like that. Baron Corbin, I like what he's been able to do, how he came back out of NXT. He's kind of fell off a little bit. I'm with you. I mean, I wasn't surprised that he lost, but I was kind of like, I would have liked to have seen him win, but Carmelo I guess they're really kind of pushing him up. What were your thoughts on that one?
I'm a big Baron Corbin fan, probably his biggest fan. And when I saw him come out, I'm like, heck yeah, dude, this is awesome. I love Baron Corbin.
That's right.
Great match though, because these guys, they did work in NXT together. I like Baron Corbin in NXT. I like Carmelo Hayes in NXT, but Hayes was the right person to go over. When you reach a certain point in your wrestling career, and you've been doing it for 8, 6, 5 years, and you just got sent ups and downs, you just realize you're just a jobber, and that's what Baron Corbin is. But wrestling needs that, and Baron Corbin could be a very good jobber. His moveset's awesome, his work rate's awesome. I don't know why people don't flock to him. I don't know why people hate him so much. I really don't get it. Maybe it was because of bad booking before. Let's be honest. Vince killed a lot of careers.
I was going to tell you that. I think that's what it was. Not that he was ever like Roman Reigns in that sense, but it kind of was, where they were kind of forcing him to be the heel. They were kind of pushing him. Everybody wanted to see Kurt Angle's last match, probably against John Cena. Even Kurt Angle wanted to be against John Cena. I don't know how you made that work, but that's what he wanted, except they said, no, we're going to put you against Baron Corbin. And it's like, it's not Baron Corbin's fault that he was pushed into that, but we're going to hate on him for it. But he's very talented in the ring. I mean, and when he is at his top, he's one of the best. He's fun to watch as a bad guy. I remember when he, one of my favorite moments is when he did his finisher on Becky Lynch in the ring. And it was like so much heat. I was like, yes, I was want bring this. That
up. Dude, that tag team match with Lacey Evans.
Yes, that was like, those are times when you go, oh shit, you scream, you go, holy shit, that was perfect. He could do that. And it's believable. It's not like he does that, and you're like, it's like, no disrespect to anybody when I say their names, but it's not like Santino Marella does the freaking claw on Becky Lynch, and you're kind of like, oh, come on, what the hell was that? No, he does that move. He makes it look like it hurts, and then you're like, kick his ass, Seth. It's like Randy Orton. When Randy Orton RKO'd Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, who had nothing to do with that story whatsoever, and it was that time and then it was the Randy Orton Triple H feud. But I remember that felt real. That was like, holy crap. So Baron Corbin is capable of that. They just have to get it out, and they have to do something with him. But anyway, it was fun to see. Next match, we just talked about that one, was Cargill versus she beat Nevin. Again, I get what you're saying. I did see the bumps. I thought it was short, sweet, and they had some good bright spots. Make her look strong at the end. She comes out. Bianca Belair comes right after that. Do you have something to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the problem with the ending of that match, I was texting Chris the whole time, like, man, like, she's been getting beat up for 6 minutes. This is her longest match of her life, right? And then Piper goes to the top rope. Jade immediately gets up, selling nothing, just like in her, because you gotta think in her head, she's like, okay, now I gotta do this,
Yeah.
Jaded this. It's like she didn't sell any of the bumps she just took. It was just stand up like a robot, kick, pump kick. It's like, come on, man. Like, you gotta do
And that's the
something
thing.
better than that. And then she's green though, so I get it, but that's what I don't think she's gonna get it. That's all.
I would consider myself an old school wrestling fan. I love when moves matter. You know, the DDT, you know, the tombstone, a chair shot, you know, it was always fun because then when somebody would kind of no sell, it meant more. You know, again, you think of Hogan when Hogan would, you know, get it, and then Hogan would be so dramatic. You know, if Hogan got the thumb or whatever, and you know, Hogan would be like, to start doing some rant, you know, start shaking like he's having a seizure. But then when he would start going, you'd go, oh shit, there it is. You know, now it's like, I mean, I didn't see this, but I was forgetting. I think it was Bubba Ray who talked about, and I think you guys just talked about him on your last show as well, on Real Talk Wrestling with Chris and Clutch was who the hell is his name? The guy with the pockets from AEW.
Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy. That he no sell the pile driver or some on the steps.
Oh my goodness.
And Bubba was so pissed. That pisses me off. Like, there's a time and a place. Like I of course, there's sometimes where you're like you're the Undertaker. You get hit with a chair. You get knocked, and also you come back up. It's big pop. It's fun. But I miss the days where the spine buster meant something. The DDT meant something. When Jake the Snake Roberts, and again, this is back from Blockbuster and Hollywood Video days when I would watch these guys. When they did the DDT, it meant like, holy crap, he's concussion, he's out. 1, 2, 3. Of course, it can't be like that now, but man, moves have to matter. How many super kicks? And I love Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. I think they're great. But when Shawn Michaels hit that super kick, you were done. Now you hit the super kick, they do 5 or 6, and they're jumping back up and ready to go. I have such an issue with no sells. It's like I there's a time and a place, but not all the time.
Not all the time. But it happens. It's just the new age of wrestling. And the good ones know how to do it. The bad ones don't. And that's the way it is. Like Bryan Danielson knows how to no sell, I believe. I think he's one of the best no sellers, knows when to do it, how to do it.
He's one of the best in the world.
And you look at someone like Will Ospreay, who is getting away from that world, but he still no sells. Like I watched his match with Bryan, he's no selling everything. Like, come on, Ospreay, you're not well known in America yet. You can't do this. But
that's a great point, Ryan.
No such thing as a finisher anymore.
Yeah, there's nothing that.
Yes, there is. There's 2. There's 2 that get hit, and I'm like, it's over. It's the RKO. Nobody kicks out of the RKO, and it's the one wing angel from Kenny Omega. No one's ever kicked out of that, ever. So those are the 2 moves that I still respect. Everything else, nothing.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. See, you say the word respect. That needs to come back too in regards to that, because when someone hits a finisher, it's like, hey man, this is your finisher. I'm not kicking out of this. This is your thing, you know, because then you make the other guy look weak. Because you know, because that finisher has to mean something, you know. And again, sometimes no sells are okay, but again, like we were just saying, not all the time. RKO, the F5, you know, that was when people did that, you knew it was over. The jackhammer, you knew it was over when that move was hit, you know. But if somebody starts kicking out of the damn that move, and of course it's just a suplex, and all he does is flip you, you know. If the people start kicking out, that move's not going to mean anything anymore. But I think that's a great line by Ryan there. No such thing as a finisher anymore. It's all just signature moves. Next match is Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae. I'm a Belair fan. I like Belair a lot, but I felt underwhelmed by this match. It was obvious she was going to win, but I didn't feel pretty good about this. And I know their match finished, the tag match at Backlash was a little off-putting. But your thoughts on this match? I mean, no shocker here, right?
Yeah, it's just another jobber match. The biggest takeaway I got from this was, gosh, Bianca's so tiny now. She's so tiny compared to Jade. That was honestly my biggest takeaway from this match. Was wow.
Yeah, it was. Well, that's the thing too, and not that Bianca is in shape. She's built. You know, she's a, you know. But you're right. Compared to Jade, it's like you kind of see the difference between the two of them. Again, I'm very excited about their partnership. I think that's an exciting thing there.
I do have to say this.
Yeah.
About this partnership. It's time. It's time, Bianca. This whole skipping to the ring and swinging her hair, and it's so nauseating. You got to go bad. The way you were in NXT was amazing. when you call yourself the best, I'm the EST, I'm the greatest, I'm the bestest, I'm the whateverest. That's a heel gimmick. She kept her heel gimmick and she turned it babyface, and it worked. It really did. She's awesome. I love Bianca. I think she's one of the greatest athletes they have. But man, I'm so sick of this skipping to the ring crap.
I think that's a great point. I think they need to have those, what do you call these? When you don't know really what they are, they're kind of like the anti-heroes.
The tweeners.
Yeah, the ones where they could go from bad to good. You kind of, I think Roman Reigns is probably the next one. I think that would be perfect for him if he's going to come back and battle against the rogue bloodline or whatever. Don't make him a baby face. Make him an anti-hero. He could kind of be the baby face or the protagonist in this story, but in the end, he's really the antagonist. He's still the tribal chief. He still acknowledged me. We need more of that. I think that's something that's missing. You think of like Triple H. I remember Triple H said that years ago. I forgot what it was. He was a babyface for like one feud, and then the next, I think that's when he pedigreed Shawn Michaels in the ring. I don't think it was when he ran his head into the window. I think it was when he pedigreed him, and he was like, I was never he said something like, I'm not the baby face. You think I'm you think I can, when have I ever given a shit about you? I'm way better than you. I've always been, he's telling the fans. And I remember it's like, that's what you need, is somebody who's kind of in between those lines. And that might be something for her where, she could do a little thing, but she's cocky at the same time. That might work for someone like her. I mean, my next thing would probably be Roman Reigns. I think that's perfect for him to kind of keep him in between.
I'm trying to think of someone in WWE that could fill that role, because I'm the total opposite on you on this with Roman. I want to see him come back, recruit Jimmy, get Jay back in. Hell,
but he can do that. He could, to me, I think he could be that, because again, they're family, they're brothers.
But you got to get Sammy. I think Sammy has to.
Oh, you want Sammy to be recruited to?
I want Sammy.
See, we're gonna talk. We got that here. To me, we got it right here, and that's why I'm running through this. We'll touch a little bit on AEW. We'll talk about your favorite things from Raw just very quick, and then we're going to get to these last 2 points. But I love that. I want to hear that. We're getting into the Bloodline right now just because it's the next match. Tama Tonga versus Angelo Dawkins. I was surprised how strong they made Angelo look in this. I thought they were going to let Tonga run over him, but they didn't. It was kind of interesting the way they went. But still entertaining. I thought they made Angelo Dawkins look strong still, even though they tore through him at the end. He got that jobber entrance, but they didn't make him look like a jobber. What are your thoughts on this here and Tama Tonga?
I think that it was the right, obviously, decision when I was coming back, because I'm a big, if the commercials come on or whatever, and I miss entrances a lot. So I finally come back and I'm like, oh shoot, we're about to see Montez Ford versus Tama Tonga, because I didn't see the bracket ahead of time. I'm like, I love it. This is awesome. Ford and Tonga, let's ride. That's going to be great. And then they say Angelo Dawkins. I just start laughing, and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "They're going to let this guy wrestle in a singles match? Like, are we high?" It was really good. This guy looked strong.
They made him look really good.
It was only a 2.5 minute match, but the way they made it look, and he needed help from all these people to beat Dawkins. Like, they're really trying to make this Bobby Lashley and I don't even know their name, Street Profits, strong. So I appreciate that. You need to make these guys strong. That's something Triple H is working on doing, because there was a huge gap. If you put it in football terms, there was a lot of Travis Kelce's and Mark Andrews, like only a few of those guys in WWE. And the rest were all Eric Ebrons, like all just garbage, all Durham Smythes, all just trash. Now he's trying to build these guys up. Like, look at the guys that we're talking about right now. Angelo Dawkins. We're talking about Candice LeRae. They got their moves in. If this was a Vince McMahon led tournament, it'd be a 30-second squash match, every single match, and everything would be a roll up. Everything would be a roll up. By the way, that's how Vince used to run it. So I like the way they're making these low card guys look good. I like that.
Again, and that's just insurance, because eventually you might need one of these guys to jump up, and it's to be believable when they do. The main event, again, Randy Orton versus AJ Styles. I think we all expected that to be what it was, and it was a fun match. It was a good match. Two of the best in the ring going at it. Styles again comes off a classic against Cody Rhodes and has a very good one here. Not surprised that they allowed Randy to win. Again, I think it's Randy versus Tunga in that portion of it. I think that's where they're going with that. But yeah, how do you feel about Orton versus Styles and going
that
over
was
Styles?
great. That was great. AJ Styles is one of my all-time favorites, man. I love AJ Styles. I have so many all-time favorites. Everyone's gonna know that. I have a million all-time favorites, but AJ is one of those guys, and Orton's one of them too. And I'm like, I even put on Twitter, I'm about to go pop some popcorn. I'll be right back. I did, and it was to me, it was an entertaining match. I expected Randy to go over. It sucks that Styles is losing so much. 17-minute match though. I was disappointed that at 9:30 Eastern, that's when I heard they don't want none, they don't want some, right? AJ Styles music. I'm like, holy crap, this is gonna be a 30-minute match.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot WWE does this crappy thing where a guy comes out, commercial, long commercial. Randy Orton comes out. I'm like, oh, they're gonna start the match at 9:45. 15 minutes went by before and AJ Styles was in the ring for 15 minutes.
I was with you. I saw where it started. It was exactly like 30 minutes late. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a barn burner. It was still a very good match, but no, they took 15 minutes off of it.
Ridiculous.
But still a good match. And again, I know AJ Styles is starting to hint at retirement, and I hope it's not any time. I mean, all credit to him whenever he is. He's had a great career, but I mean, he looks in phenomenal shape. He still looks like at his best. Obviously, you probably want to go out on top, but he just put on 2 very good matches. I mean, there's still some dream matches that he could have in the WWE.
I wish he went to Raw.
Oh, see, if we would have done this show a little earlier, we could have been going off on the draft because I was so disappointed with the draft. It was like, come on, dude, you had so much opportunity. Like, I guess on the outside, it kind of makes sense if you're trying to think of trying to keep the stories or whatever. But it's like, the draft is supposed to be so random. It's supposed to be different. People that you thought weren't going to change your brand were going to change your brand, and they didn't do that. It was like, holy crap! I could have we could have bet money on it. Probably would have won.
Think about this, and nobody's bringing this up. You have a year-long program with Cody and the Bloodline, whether it be The Rock and then Roman, because he's going to have that match with Roman again. So everyone that was drafted to SmackDown, whether it be LA Knight, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, just all the guys that are on SmackDown, not one of them will have a legitimate chance at winning that title because Cody has to keep it for his rematch against Roman. Cody has to keep it for that big match against Rock. Cody has to have that title for a year. And by the time the draft is over again, it's going to be after WrestleMania. So all of these guys that are on SmackDown, if the ultimate goal is winning that title, they're all wasting their time for a year because that year's story is already written. So Cody's going to get fed these guys just for a L. AJ Styles L. Logan Paul's going to take an L. I'm assuming maybe Randy Orton turns heel, going to take an L. All these guys are eventually just going to lose, and we know where it's going. So if these guys were on Raw against Damian Priest, we would think, oh, is this the guy? Oh, is this the guy who's going to lead Raw? Because I don't think Priest is the guy. But I could see AJ Styles doing it. I could see Randy Orton doing it. I could see LA Knight doing it.
Yeah.
That's a different show for a different time.
No, and yeah, and obviously next week we'll be more into it or more into both shows kind of running through. But that's why for me, I love the shock factors. Again, like right now we're like, Cody's not losing this anytime soon. We can't see it happening. He has to, he has to take on The Rock. We know what's kind of leading. That's why, not Logan Paul. Maybe, I don't know. But if like Randy Orton turns heel and then, we both say, oh, Cody's going to keep this belt. He's going to go against Rock. Oh, holy RKO 1, 2, 3. Cody Randy beats him for the title. It's going to mean something. And I think that's what WWE's missing. Obviously we all fight. That's a problem. You see, if Roman, as strong as Roman was, and I understand it, that's what I love. And we're going to talk about Bloodline, but what I love about the Bloodline is the long-term storytelling. There's a story. They got a plan A, plan B. They know what they're doing there. But if Sami Zayn, we all kind of go, man, I hope it happens, but come on, he's going to drop the title to Cody. Cody has to finish the story. Everyone kept saying that. It was so obvious, and the obvious was done. It was still fun. It was still awesome to see. But again, we all knew what the end goal was for Cody Rhodes. If somehow, some way between that line, Sami Zayn was the one who pinned Roman at that that when he did it. Think about how shocking that would have been. Think about how awesome that would have been. And you could have dropped the title the next night or whatever, next Friday night back to Roman and kept it going or whatever. Jey Uso, the same thing. They have to do that. To me, it's like And I think Cody is the one to do it. I think Cody could do it. It's like you let him have for a couple months and then do that shock win and give it to someone you don't expect.
But here's the problem, Bobby.
Yeah.
If you did that, and I argued this till I was blue in the face. If you let Sami Zayn beat Roman and he wins the title, and if it's, Roman wins it back in a week or two or the next pay-per-view, that diminishes Cody's win because Cody has to be the one to end it. Nobody else. That was the story. Cody had to end it. If Cody pinned him again, Roman lost before. What's the big deal?
But Cody's story was winning the title, not pinning Roman.
Yeah, but part of
that WWE title that his dad never won, or his dad won, they took away from him.
But part
That's
of it
how I
was,
saw it.
Right, but part of it was taking down Roman as well. That was part of it. That was a small part of it, and it became a big part at the very end. But it would really diminish Cody's win, in my opinion. I think he was the one who needed to finish Roman and finish his story. I think that if you swap titles too much, kind of like how the TNT title over there in AEW was swapped like every other week, it loses value.
100%. I understand that, and I hear you on that.
So if Cody beats Roman and Sammy already did it, who cares?
Cody finishes his story. He wins the WWE title.
He beat a guy that someone else beat.
So he still won the title his dad never won. That was the story. It wasn't Roman Reigns. It was winning the title my dad never won. That's why he didn't want to beat Seth Rollins. That's why he never went for the world title. That's why when he won the Rumble, it was obvious he wasn't going to go against Seth Rollins. He wanted the WWE title. It had nothing to do with Roman. It had everything to do with that title. The only reason why I had to do with Roman was Roman had it. So, I mean, and I get what you're saying, and I understand where, it's like, hey, Roman beat him the WrestleMania before. He has to beat Roman. Roman is the one who did it. I get that. My thing was like, we all knew that. You basically letting the fans book it at that point because the fans already know what's going to happen. Do something that you don't know what's going to happen. Cody winning the title after they did this whole story about his dad winning it, but they took it away the same night and it didn't count, and he just wants to win it for his dad. To me, that would have been enough to be like, he did something his family never did. His dad, one of the greatest of all time, NWA World Champion, legend, one of the greatest minds in this business. Everyone knows Dusty Rhodes if you're a wrestling fan. He wins the WWE title. His brother never did it. His dad never did it. He did it. That was enough to make it finishing that story. That was the story. But it would have meant so much more if Jey Uso or Sami Zayn, maybe Jey Uso a little more, but Sami Zayn probably because he was the ultimate underdog. But it would have been so much more if one of them would have beat Roman Reigns, because you would not have expected it. You would have thought that this is going to be, what we all thought. Solo Sikoa is going to come in, interfere. Jimmy Uso is going to interfere. But if Roman Reigns would have been pinned, it would have been huge. And then, you drop it. And then Cody Rhodes wins the Rumble. Holy crap, you get Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns Part 2. It was a barn burner the year before. It's a rematch, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns 2, which happened with Rock and Austin. It did it a lot. It didn't mean any less when Austin won the 2 or 3 times. It would mean just as more because it was about winning the title, not beating Roman. You could have had Randy Orton as the champion. You could have made a huge story between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was under Randy Orton's ring, and he wins the WWE championship. It was the WWE championship that Cody Rhodes that his dad never had. That was the story. That's why, to me, it's like, I get what they were doing. I understand it. And I appreciate it. At the same time, though, it's like, we need more shock factors. We need things that we just don't expect, and there were so many times where you could have done that, not LA Knight. I mean, no disrespect to LA Knight. I think he's fun. I like LA Knight. I think he's fun, but I don't say drop the title LA Knight or Logan Paul, but that Jey Uso storyline, that would have been like, that's a perfect opportunity. Or that Sami Zayn. Can you imagine the explosion that would have been compared to Cody Rhodes wins WrestleMania? Well, we knew he was going to win it. There was no way they weren't going to give it to him.
Right.
It doesn't feel the same anymore compared to I get you that you're saying, but he had to beat Roman for that because Roman beat him. But I mean, it's like, to me, it was about the title. Just getting him able to get that title that his dad never could get. That was bigger than him having to face Roman Reigns.
See, we're different there because I never cared about his daddy or him. I never cared. I honestly never cared about that story. Every time he talked about his dad, I would get on my phone and I would just start texting or looking at.
But that's what the finish of story was. That's
to
what
you. To you, it was.
To him. That's the point.
But to me, and
to the
a
fan,
lot of fans,
they let the fans book it. That's my point. To the fan, it's like, oh, he has to go against Roman. No, he didn't. That to me, you could have still had that, but still done something before that would have meant just maybe more than Cody winning. And it wasn't.
I agree with that. I agree with your side. I see your side, and honestly, you're explaining the story better than most people defend it. Let me put it on a smaller scale. Sami Zayn goes into WrestleMania and beats Gunther for the Intercontinental title, beats a streak. Now that title means 0 again. Sami Zayn's done nothing with it. It's an afterthought at this point. That's what would have happened to the WWE title. I'm sorry. That's what in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Sami wins it. We get one night. Woohoo. What happens next? Roman just beats him again. Then Sami's buried. In my eyes, that's what I see. Him losing that match, going through the adversity in his hometown, teaming up with Kevin Owens again. Then they team and beat the Usos. To me, that was a bigger moment for Sami, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Because he did it with his real life best friend. He did it against a big story, against who he was really feuding with. The entire time in the Bloodline, it was him and Jay. It was him and Jay at odds the entire time. It was never him and Roman. It was never him and Jimmy. And that's what made it dynamic, because him and Jimmy had that friendship, the handshake, their little inside things, and Jay never trusted him. So in my mind, the biggest story in that Bloodline wasn't him ever turning on Roman. It was him and Jay finally facing off. And then him and Jay finally becoming one. Like, that was right there. That was the story with Sami. It was never for the title to me. Yeah. Never. I never saw him in the title. It didn't make sense. Yes, he turned on Roman. Yes, he did what he did. But in the end of the day, his main feud, the main story for Sami was Jay. That was it. And that's the way I looked at it. So if him winning the title, to me, him winning the tag team titles from the Usos, that was bigger for Sami. But again, they win the tag team titles. They don't know how to book baby faces. Nothing really happened after. Nothing really happened after that.
I get it. Again, I just think the push that was going on, and again, you don't have to put Sami. You could tag in Jey Uso with his story. I mean, he was the first one really of that family who was really against Roman from the beginning in regards of, oh, you're the tribal chief. I mean, I don't give a damn what the tribal chief says. He was always been that guy. So you could take Sami out and put Jay in there, and that, again, all I'm saying is I think it would have meant more. I would have popped more if Jay would have won or Sami would have won one of those two guys compared to what I was with Cody. Because it's like, oh, okay, cool. You've done something you never were able to do. That's what your main goal was. You said it since before AEW that you wanted to be the WWE champion. He asked for his man, just let me have the ball. He said, okay, I'm going to do it somewhere else. He did it somewhere else. He became big in somewhere else. He started on his own company somewhere else. Goes back to WWE, finishes his story, wins that title. But neither here nor there. Obviously, we know the Bloodline story is not over. That's continuing. I mean, they just keep reinventing. Let's stay on Cody Rhodes. Well, let's just stick with Cody Rhodes. Forget it. Cody Rhodes. Obviously, I want to, the top babyface in WWE, the face of WWE currently, as Roman Reigns takes the much needed whatever he needs off. He's at Disney, I saw recently. Undertaker. I've seen this over and over again, and he keeps talking about it, that he thinks Cody Rhodes is a heel. He only sees heel with him. He says everything he does screams heel. Kevin Nash is different. Kevin Nash is like, no, he's the biggest babyface in WWE. Don't ruin that. I said, Bubba Ray Dudley recently said something that was very interesting. He said that, I'm paraphrasing here, I don't have it in front of me, but that Cody Rhodes is Anakin Skywalker. He has all those heel qualities. It's there. You just need someone to wake him up, and that would be like Paul Heyman being the Emperor Palpatine and whatever, kind of given that kind of scenario. You've touched on this, about the heel prospect and all this whatnot. What are your thoughts? Do you think Cody is a heel in hiding, or should he be turned into a heel? Or you just leave him as is, he's perfect as he is, don't ruin that?
The fan in me, the person who saw Bullet Club Cody, the person who saw heel Cody, will tell you heel Cody is the best heel, the best version of Cody you'll ever see. It's phenomenal. The way he works the mic, the way he runs his matches are different. I love heel Cody. It'll never happen in WWE. He's the next John Cena. He's too likable. He wants to be liked. He craves. He wants nothing but to be liked and cheered. That's all he wants. Go watch his, if you haven't seen it, Bobby, go watch his last AEW promo. It's an unscripted promo. You can tell because he's taking shots at WWE, saying because he wasn't under contract at the time he put out this promo, and he told everyone, you know why I won't turn heel? You know I'll never turn heel? Because you guys won't let me. You guys cheered me from my darkest days till now and to where I'll go. I'm never going to turn heel on you guys. You guys have backed me from this entire journey. And right then and there, I should have seen it. That was his going away speech in AEW. Should have seen it. Didn't see it coming. I had zero idea he was ever going to go back. He doesn't want that. And I think Cody, the American Nightmare is a character that people can relate to because of the Dusty ties and because of what he did. He is the American dream. Somebody told him, Vince told him, you're not good enough. You'll never be this. He built his own kingdom. That song was written for him specifically, his theme song. That whole song is written about him leaving WWE and showing them, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to build this myself. And he did. There's no reason to ever turn him heel. Ever. He doesn't need it. I would love it. I'd sign me up today. But I don't think it's a good business decision for WWE. People love him too much. It's kind of like the Bianca thing. Turning her heel is the right thing for television, probably. But man, she is just such a PR dream. She's big, she's strong, she's powerful, she's young, she's pretty. She's the champion. She's she's well spoken. She's great on the mic. She's not like Mercedes, right? She's likable. Same thing with Cody. Elegant, dresses for the part, always wearing a suit and tie, always respectable, doing the right thing in and outside the ring. There's no way you could ever turn him babyface. I don't see a world. I would love it. I would love it. Never.
So, I get it. The suits, the way he talks sometimes on the mic, he kind of did it yesterday when he kind of grabbed Logan Paul's mic before Logan Paul could talk. I could see the cockiness. I'm the son of Dusty Rhodes. I'm the only WWE champion in my family. I'm handpicked by Triple H, and who's basically took him and risen him up in the rank in WWE. I could see it, but I also get your point. And I also get again, you talked about the crying earlier. When I found out that he took acting classes, in LA, and I'm not crapping on him. I think he's great. I love, I think he's fun. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he tells a story when he's in the ring. That's always huge to me, but when I found that out, it's harder to watch him talk on a mic. I think it would be so much easier to listen to him and to take him seriously if he was a legit heel. I don't think he needs a Paul Heyman. I think, Paul Heyman Paul Heyman could, because he did it with Roman, but be the kind of the background noise, because Brock Lesnar needed Paul Heyman to talk, because Brock Lesnar is just, not on the mic. Or Roman Reigns, when he finally was allowed to be himself, just was beyond whatever he ever was. I don't think Cody needs that. I would say Cody's would probably need to be more old school heel, that Ric Flair type, heel. I'm better than you. I'm legit. Look at my suits. Look at this. Look at this belt. Look at my Rolex. I could see that, but I'm with you. In WWE, I can't fathom that. And he probably have to change his look. He has that bleached blonde hair. He go back dark. Do that. You're gonna have to change something up.
I'm only laughing because there was a storyline in AEW where he got hurt by somebody and he was a babyface. He got hurt by someone. He was never a heel in AEW. He got hurt by, I forgot who the feud was against. Maybe it was MJF. I don't know. He came back with dark hair. And the commentary team, oh my God, that's the dark Cody we haven't seen since New Japan.
Oh, I hate that.
I'm like just because he dyed his hair, just because
really did.
Yes, it was so bad. So that reminds me of when you said let his hair dark. I just think of
yeah. See, but that right there, it's like, come on, dude, don't do this. Don't you have to say it like that.
Excalibur, we haven't seen Cody dark since New Japan. It's like, come on. It's like the whole Finn Balor thing. Like you put face paint on, and
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I don't.
His demon is just
It's Demon Finn. Like, okay,
no, it's
whoa.
Demon Cody with brown hair. Oh no! Like, no, I like the bleach blonde hair. Look, I think if you're a heel Cody in WWE, it would never work because the people love him so much. Like the tribalist, oh, he came back to us, right? He came home. And all the people that are now getting introduced to him, like Ryan Taylor in the chat says, I would love to see heel Cody. He's probably never seen heel Cody. You know, a lot of people don't even know he went to New Japan. A lot of people. They only know babyface Cody right now. And people will say, well, Roman turned heel. What's the difference? Here's the difference. When Roman was babyface, we rejected him.
Yeah.
When Cody comes out, whoa, right?
Yeah.
We want that. I want it. I want to see him heel for my selfishness, but I know it would hurt the show because who else do they have? Look at the roster. Do an honest, assessment of the roster. Who can carry a show right now as a babyface? Who can carry the show as the main character? Because there's not many.
No, I mean, the only one, I mean, and again, I might be overlooking, but the comes to my mind is you see what Cody was able to do in France. The next best one to do that, obviously Randy Orton with his song, people were singing it, but Jey Uso, I mean, he has the crowd at the palm of his hand right now. You know, the way when he comes out, the fans love him. But I'm with you. I get it.
He's not a 5-tool player. He's on a mic. He can't talk.
No. But can Cody? You just said Cody can't.
He can talk, but gosh, just stop with the over dramatic lines where you say these long words and you talk in these cadences. Like it just drives me nuts.
Now you're messing with me. See, how would I watch it? I'm gonna go, son of a bitch. There it is. I'm like, oh yeah, you're ruining it. Oh man. Josh is right. Never seen it. I wasn't watching it during Cody's visit. Yeah, I wonder if I'm sure it has to be on YouTube somewhere. Tune into that stuff and watch some.
Hey,
of that.
Ryan Taylor. I tell Chris Colfer on Real Talk Wrestling all the time. Bobby, I'll tell you this too. Just go on YouTube, unplug in another channel, tune in to Be in the Elite, watch from episode 1. And don't binge watch them. Watch them when you can. Just watch the evolution of Cody in the Bucks and all these guys, and you'll grow to like them and love them. And you'll understand. It's funny because you'll go, oh, that guy. Oh, he was what? He was there. Tomatanga, what? He was in the Bullet Club.
It is Being Elite. Is it like a podcast, or is it telling like the story?
Oh, it's a sketch show. They write their own sketches.
Oh, okay.
But they also do vlogs like, hey, we're going here and this is where we're wrestling, and you'll see like old stuff. You'll look at old stuff of Adam Cole. You'll see old stuff of like everyone. It's insane.
Let's run this by very quick. First off, current AEW. I know you follow Dynamite. Current AEW product. What do you like? What do you dislike? What's going on right now? Like,
Dynamite.
Like, yeah, just with AEW in general, but Dynamite. Yeah, what's something like? Man, I like what they're doing here. I don't like it here. That we could just run by it, but something that if I obviously I want to start tuning in. So Bobby, watch this story, or maybe change the channel on this one.
Okay, Bobby. Watch for the professional wrestling, the art of it, the way the moves they do. That's all you need to watch for. They're not going to tell stories. The things you need to avoid, honestly, the women's division is atrocious. I know they're trying to make it better with bringing Mercedes in. So, like, I guess you could watch that, but it's not necessary. All you need to do, Bobby, is watch the matches. It's their slogan now is it's where professional, like we're the best wrestle, right? So we're the best wrestle. And it's true. Their matches are awesome, but the problem is they don't make sense. I'm looking at these King of the Ring stuff. Baron Corbin and Carmelo Hayes, 6 minutes. Dakota Kai and Valkyrie woman, 8 minutes. You're not going to get that there. There's no roll-ups. There's no 5-minute matches. Everything's a banger. And I think that's what tunes people out. If you don't like pro wrestling, if you just want stories, you're not going to like it, Bobby. But if you watch it and you understand what you're getting into, like, okay, I'm not going to get stories. I'm not going to get this. But I'm going to get a 5-star. I'm going to get a pay-per-view match every single Wednesday night. That's what you got to tune in for. You have to I look at it now as a pay-per-view. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to watch Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong put on a freaking banger. And I'm okay with it. I'm not going to get anything out of it, though. It's just, and then once it's over, it's over. And then we move on to the next dream match. That's what you're going to get. There are some stories. There's some good stuff out there. But in general, just watch it for the wrestling and enjoy it and appreciate it. Because you do that with pay-per-views, guys. But it's hard to invest in a match when there's no heat. And that's where we're running into problems with AEW. There's no heat. Why should I care if Orange Cassidy beats Roderick Strong? Why should I care if Adam Copeland beats Malachi Black? Why should I care?
He looks so out of place. I've watched him a couple times. He looks so out of place. I love what Christian is doing. I think that's a right. Every time I've seen Christian now, when he had the story with Edge, or I call him Edge, sorry, Adam Copeland, and so forth. I love what Christian is doing, and man, it makes you appreciate Christian more. Christian Cage in AEW, TNA, but it makes you appreciate him more and what he was able to do. I know Randy Orton loves him to death, loved him as an opponent, and all that. But I like his stuff. But to me, I mean, he looks like he's right in there. You could tell he's running his own stuff. But
like Jay White, watch Jay White. They're burying him right now. He's a phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah.
You want to go in there and you want to the Elite stuff. The main story of the show is the Elite taking over EVPs. They
saw some of them. Yeah, I saw him in the back making fun with their headsets.
They destroyed Tony Khan. That's the main story. I want to see where that goes. They just killed Kenny Omega. He came back in his hometown. They just destroyed him. Christian Cage, best heel in the business. I disagree because just like everything else in AEW, they overdo it. If it was just Christian Cage and Luchasaurus and maybe Nick Wayne, sure. But they added Nick Wayne's mom. And every single week they're adding. Exactly.
Is that who it was? Was that who the lady is? I was wondering who she was.
Yes. They add too much. They do too much. If they would have kept it simple, yes, best heel in the business. But he's not. Best heel in the business right now, Gunther, in my opinion, overall. Because Roman's not a newsflash. Roman's not a heel anymore. He's a babyface. He is. When he comes back, he'll be cheered. And he'll be a straight up babyface. He'll come back as a heel, but people are going to cheer him. We already hear.
I think he's an anti-hero. That's my thing.
I think he's going to be. Who? I'm gonna flip it back on you. Ask the questions. Who's the best heel in the business?
Oh, dude, you took it from me already. You just told me that he's not, but I would say it's Roman. I mean, Roman was the best heel.
When chants are chanting, "We want Roman."
Well, that's different. He's not here, but when he was. But no, you know what? He's not even in right now. He's taking time off. The Rock, Hollywood Rock, is the biggest heel in professional wrestling. What he was able to do in a short amount of time, and people were pissed because he supposedly got himself in, and then he freaking took that ball and rolled with it. He's cussing. He's doing these promos on Twitter. I mean, he really not want to say reinvented himself, but if you're gonna put right now, to me, put I don't want to say gun to head, but something like, but gun to head, I would say The Rock. He's believable. He makes you feel like, oh, dude, he really is an asshole. And then of course anything he does now, you got to question, right? His grandmother goes into the Hall of Fame, as deserving as she is, being one of the only female promoters back in the day. And young Rock, you watch that, you kind of familiar, what she was able to do after her husband passed away. Respect. Hey, they put people lesser than her into the Hall of Fame. They should put someone like her in. But because she went in, and the way The Rock is, you're going, wait, bro, you're a board member. Did you bet her in there? Because you know what I mean? You start to, but he takes that. He lives off that. So right now, even though he's not, he's not involved with WWE right now on TV, but he's still saying the final boss. Oh, Cody, when I come back, I'm going to whoop the final boss. He always ties the end there. So I would say right now, even though he's not live on TV, it's The Rock, because we know when he comes back, they're going to boo the shit out of him.
I can't disagree. I was naming active, but yeah, Rock is the number one heel for sure. But active, like professional wrestler that wrestles every single night or every week, I think Gunther is. And I know you're a big Gunther guy too. I know Evan's not. I don't know if Evan's still
Gunther.
Here.
I like Gunther a lot. I do. Again, old school guy. Yes. I just love the aura he carries. I love the matches that he has. Every time he's on, God, I know, like, he hits you, it's gonna hurt. There's some guys, eventually, he should, and maybe he's the one who beats Priest. Who knows?
We can only hope.
One of the guys. So let's run through Raw very quick. Okay, we don't have to go too much on here. You had Finn Balor versus Jey Uso. Fun, right? At least to me. What did you think very quick of that, and Jay going over Finn?
Yeah, as soon as we saw Jay was a replacement, we knew what was going to happen. Love to see it though. Two great workers. God, I love Finn. I wish they just pushed. I wish they pushed him.
I'm surprised they haven't. I really am. Like, because again, I say all this. I'm not a big fan of the demon gimmick, but as Finn Balor, as a professional wrestler, he's one of the best. He really is. And for him, the way they've used him, he should be involved in more world title matches. He should be a champion. I would love to see him and Damian Priest feud. I think that would be, and I'm looking forward to that. I know they did the apology gimmick. It was unbelievable. It wasn't, I don't mean it like in a bad way, like, oh, it wasn't believable. I felt like it was like him going, hey, my bad. I know you guys were there to help me. It's all good. Love you. Really, it's like, looked like Damian Priest was kind of BSing them. What did you think of that part in the ring with Damian Priest and them apologizing and all that?
I thought it was great, man. I think the Judgment Day is my favorite story in WWE. I know people are like, oh, Bloodline this, Bloodline that. Yeah, I'm over the Bloodline at some point. Like, you jump the shark, and they're still good. Bobby, don't kill me. But Judgment Day to me,
I think it's fair. No, I don't. I get that. I think the Judgment Day. First of all, they're right when you think of factions in WWE, you got Bloodline is here, right? Because Roman Reigns or whatever, and you got Judgment Day is kind of quietly right here, and it's kind of coming up. And what
Bloodline. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to, because I'm going to lose this thought. Bloodline is where they're at, where The Office left Michael Scott, and The Office went to these new age people, and you're like, it's still funny, but like it's not the same without Michael Scott. Now they got this.
That's fair. I like that.
That's what the Bloodline is right now. Like, it's still good, but it's just not the same. Whereas Judgment Day, they lose Rhea, the biggest attractment in Judgment Day, but losing Rhea is adding to the breakup, and I cannot wait. Like, they took her losing, like being gone. Now she was the leader. Now they're falling apart because she's gone. And I love how they're incorporating that. It's not like in your face, like, oh, we need Rhea back and we're doing this and that. No, Rhea's gone. People are seeing the disconnect now. People are seeing this guy doesn't agree here. Priest thinks he's a leader. Finn doesn't like the way he's running it. That's great. And the whole Liv Morgan monkey wrench, like, all this is so good, in my opinion. And I do think that they're going to get Damian Priest over as a mega babyface, or they're going to try. They want him to be a mega baby.
Well, I mean, he's had two very good matches. I mean, obviously last year at Backlash in Puerto Rico, what he was able to do in France this year with Jey Uso. Audrey's my daughter. She's a diehard Judgment Day fan, diehard Rhea Ripley. She has a crush on Dominic. God help me.
Dirty Dom.
Dude, God help me. Ended up getting her the shirt, Dirty Dom, the wanted shirt. She was flipped over that. But yeah, no joke. Judgment Day is one of the best factions in wrestling in WWE for sure. I'm very intrigued by that storyline. I love the whole, like, the teasing of the breakup here and there. I am a Damian Priest fan. I like him a lot, but and I think he would be a good baby face. I think he will turn it because he has that power. I think especially in the Latino communities, I think that's huge. It's kind of crazy. The LWO's there and he's in Judgment Day, but he fits Judgment Day. And I'm with you. Rhea Ripley, I always pick on my daughter about, like, oh man, Rhea Ripley sucks. She'll, no, she doesn't. She gets pissed. Mommy's always on top. I go, you don't even know what you're talking about. Stop saying that.
Stop saying
that. My wife gets so pissed. She goes, because Audrey was like, well, mommy said this. And my wife's like, I didn't say that. She goes, no, I'm talking about mommy, Rhea Ripley, your mom. She goes, Daddy gets so pissed off over that shit, but I have fun with it because I'm like, man, yeah, mommy's all right. And my wife's like, shut up, but it's true. And man, Rhea Ripley, I can't wait for her to come back. And she is, see what's different about what you just brought up, the AEW women's division. Paige is there, Mercedes Moné, Toni Storm, I think, is the champion currently there. And her gimmick is kind of cool from what I've seen. But those are mega names in regards to those two that I just said, Paige and Mercedes, and I'm sure the other ones are as well. But they don't touch WWE's women's division. What they've been able to do with those girls. I mean, Becky and Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Charlotte, Bailey. And that's it. But again, it's sometimes too much talent kind of kills you because, like you said, look, Bailey's the champion, but she seems kind of like that dead weight champion. It's kind of like, okay, who's she going to drop it to? Who's the next big thing? Who's she going to drop it to? Which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And Becky's doing well with her title. Liv Morgan is kind of interesting. I kind of like what they're doing with her. I like kind of the little back and forth between her and Dominic. It's kind of leading to like a love triangle type of thing. It's very interesting. CM Punk's promo, I did not catch that, so I'm gonna let you roll with this. he had it on Drew McIntyre. I love that. Again, that's like a long-term story, even though it's going to be not like Bloodline long-term, but they're kind of keeping it going, even though CM Punk is out on injury. Your thoughts on CM Punk's promo?
Go back and watch. The promo sucked. I'll say that right now off the front. The promo was awful. The best thing about that segment was the whole one-shot lead in to his entrance, where Drew McIntyre was in the backstage with old GM Paul. Can't even think of Paul Pierce, Adam Pierce, and Drew McIntyre's like, "This is BS. I could have wrestled. You know, why'd you let Jey Uso take my spot?" Continuing that story of everything's unfair. Everything's unfair.
Yeah.
So Drew's like, "Screw you. I'm out of here." Leaves the backstage area in a car. It's a nice sports car. Boom, same shot. CM Punk pulls up. Adam Pierce is like, "Oh, what's up?" You know, and CM Punk's like, "Hey, have you seen Drew?" "Oh, Drew just left. You just missed him." And CM Punk's like, "Oh, whatever. Hey, can you tell them to play my music? Because I got something to say." And it was a one shot, like
I did see that.
One shot of him walking backstage, going through Gorilla, giving Chad Gable a fist pump, walking out. Like there was no cut to the actual stage of him showing up. It was
love those. I love that entrance.
It's so good.
Sami Zayn had a killer one recently.
Yes.
I love what they've done with that.
Yes. And then he gets in the ring. "Oh, I heard Drew was here, yada, yada, yada." Everyone, he's probably at a stoplight now. Everyone text him and tell him I'm here and to see if he turns around. Or everyone tweet at him. And Pat, he keeps on, "Yeah, Pat, do that." You know, Pat McAfee. So Pat's like, "Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to tweet him." You know, everyone's tweeting at Drew McIntyre to turn around. And so CM Punk is basically just filling time. Looks at his watch a couple times. I guess he didn't get it. You know, I'm still here waiting for him to come around. I'm still here. Just talking crap about Drew McIntyre. Overall, good promo, but not his best. I like CM Punk best when he does take his shots. This babyface CM Punk is awful. But I want everyone to know I've done a full 180. I'm the biggest CM Punk fan there is.
I remember there was a time you were not. I know you were like, you were F Phil, F this. He looks. I'm happy he's back where he's supposed to be. Because I was, you know, you hear the stuff in the back. You know what he did at WWE before, the way he came off of WWE with all the stuff he said on podcast, and then you see what happened to AEW. It's easy to go, dude, you're the problem. But now you kind of see him in a place where he looks like he's happy, he's comfortable, and it's giving his best self. And again, it's good to see. And I could say I'm with you. I'm turning on CM Punk. You know, I'm turning into, you know, I'm enjoying what I'm watching, and I'm excited to see it. And I can't wait for him to get healthy again to put up the match. I know, and I hope it's a barn burner between him and Drew McIntyre, because they are really honing that in. And Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, that needs to happen. There's a lot of good matches that are still we need to see. Moving on very quick, Natalya, you know, the Iron Woman of WWE. You know, I guess the most reliable person in WWE in regards to the women's division, versus Io Sky. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Io's, they're going to push her. We all knew it. Natalya's there. She's a workhorse. They went 10 minutes. Good match. Very good. Natalya always works hard.
Oh, she's one of the, you know, people. She's so undervalued, I think, amongst fans. I love watching her work. I love watching her when she's in the ring.
You know, she thinks she's a bigger star than what she is. Like when she comes out with the music and she tries to put the sunglasses on and no one really cares about her. And it sucks because she does put in the work and she's one of the best women they have, work rate wise. If she went to AEW, she'd automatically be the best wrestler there.
Oh, she'd tear it down.
She would tear it
fucking down. Yeah,
she would. But unfortunately, she had to put over Io Sky, and we knew Sky was going to win. Because she was the former champion and she should win. Io Sky is great. I love what they're doing with her. I don't know the direction because I'm looking at the bracket right now. That bracket looks very weak on Raw. Very weak. Zoe Stark, Lyra Valkyria, whoever she is.
I don't know. I saw she came out during the Becky segment when Damage Control came out. Yeah, and I saw, you know, her, and I love that Liv more. I love that part where they look like they're gonna fight together, and you're like, oh look, they're gonna team up, and all of a sudden Liv goes, nope, I'm out, and she gets out of the ring. You're like, oh, she's such a badass, and all of a sudden here, and then Becky's like, whatever, bitch. And also you see Valkyria, whatever her name is. I'm like, who? I'm like, what?
Exactly.
And maybe that's on me, you know, maybe that's on me, but I'm like, why is she coming out?
Yeah,
like, why? You
know, that's my thoughts as well. And then you look at the winner of Io Sky. It's going to be Shayna Baszler or Selena Vega. I'm hoping it's Selena Vega because she's better to look at, but And I know I'm not that kind of guy, but I have a hardcore crush on Zelina Vega. I love her. But we all know Sky's going to go out of this bracket anyway because she has no competition. I hate that.
So the next match I actually saw, and I freaking loved it, was Ricochet versus the Dragon. I call him the Dragon because I can't pronounce Dragunov. Whatever. What a match. That was fun. And again, you know how you probably already knows about me. I love matches that tell stories. It's not just a bunch of spot fest. I'm not into that. Moves have to mean something. This was a spot fest at a point, but really though, it was like they all meant something. I was enjoying this match, and Dragunov had a believable win, and he looks like he's strong. Your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, it was great. I'm curious to see what Dragunov's going to do in the future because he's so little and tiny.
I know that's the thing. Like, he's not a Vince McMahon, and I don't mean in a bad way, but he's, if Vince was there, he would not get this push.
No,
he'd be
wouldn't.
in, and he'd be Ciampa somewhere. Ricochet though, Ricochet is a spot guy in AEW. He'd be all over the place. He'd have a bunch of, but. Again, I think it's especially now that Triple H is running it. I think he's in a good spot because obviously they gave him the speed title. Those were fun. I think, and then is it fiance, girlfriend, wife?
Samantha Irvin, probably just girlfriend.
But obviously she's killing it. She's top notch. I enjoy her.
Yep.
But I think I love what they're doing with him. He's one of those guys where again I would love to see that surprise win title. Tonight we have Sami Zayn versus Ricochet for the Intercontinental title, and we're going into Sami Zayn's gonna win, and all of a sudden, holy crap, no, it's Ricochet, or what they did back in the day, Triple H versus Chris Jericho in the WWF. You remember that?
It broke my heart. I was so mad.
But didn't you not freaking jump like crazy when it happened? And it was like, holy shit, and then it's like, of course, then they take it away, and you're kind of like, come on, dude. But those are the times. That's what I love. I love things like that, and he's a perfect candidate for something like that. Who's here? Ivy Neal versus Zoe Stark. I saw bits of that. Yeah, I didn't even know who my daughter was the one who told me who they were. She said, "Who's that?" And I was like, "I don't know." No. She was like, she was quizzing me, and I'm like, I don't know who that is.
I know they are, but could not care less.
Yeah, I just don't care. Chad Gable versus Bronson Reed, and I think there was an interference in that. Was that right? Sami Zayn interfered in that one. That's right. No contest.
Yep. Love what they're doing with Chad Gable. This is a Chad Gable we wanted from day one. Day one. This is it.
I don't like comparisons. I'm not a big comparison guy. I think it's unfair to people when you compare him to someone. But I get that angle vibe from him a lot. I'm not just talking about the spandex or the ankle lock and all that, but the attitude, the aura that he carries, the cockiness. I love that. I'm a big Chad Gable guy. I think he should have beat Gunther for the title. I think he should have done that. Part 3 at WrestleMania would have been epic. They would have had a 5-star match. I get the idea of Sami Zayn, but I love what they're doing right now. They're making him very important. I just love where it's kind of going with him. Your thoughts?
I can't wait till he gets the Creed brothers and they create, that's the new stable. That's the new team, Chad Gable. Because the Creed brothers have been off TV for a long time for a reason. The reason is to repackage them with Chad Gable. Cannot wait for that to happen. I think Chad Gable is going to eventually beat Sami Zayn with the help of the Creed brothers, and that's going to be phenomenal. And I love the way they're doing it. Triple H has. I wouldn't be doing this show right now without Triple H being the
I know that.
Creator.
That I know because you and I've talked about that off air. We've had our little debates here and there, but that's something you said about the VKM. Dude, Vince McMahon and running in. You're like, dude, I just can't. I'll
be honest with Ryan and everyone in the chat and everyone that's watching this around the world. This is no work. This is a straight up shoot. Raw and SmackDown didn't exist in my world for about 10 years. Yes, I would see him on Twitter or I would look at the results or I would read this here, listen to a podcast once in a while. But never on Monday nights was like, I got to watch USA Network. Never on Friday nights was like, I got to watch Fox. There was no point. It was rematch after rematch after rematch, roll-up matches, roll-ups, DQs. It was just uninteresting. It was all awful. Of course, I would watch the Rumble and WrestleMania and the big shows. But I would not be here right now if Vince McMahon never stepped down and if Triple H wasn't the lead content creator ever. I would never be here. I would not waste my time. And I'm getting like that with AEW, by the way, guys. I didn't watch this Wednesday night live. First time in a long time. I did not watch live. So I'm getting there with that show, and I'm spending more of my time on WWE. It's really weird.
It's crazy because, it's Vince McMahon, and not talking on the current situation, it's just in regards to the storyteller. We know the stories he's told, the characters he's built. I mean, he had a lot to do with most of all that. But it came to a time where it's like you said, and there was no lie there. It's repetitive. A lot of the same things, a lot of the same stories, a lot of the same matches. It's kind of like, but now you see someone like Triple H or Paul Levesque, who people talked a lot of shit about him, about how he got to the top and everything, and whatever was believable or not. But I mean, he is showing that he should be exactly where he is. He worked his way up the way he did. He learned from one of the best minds in the business. He's with one of the best minds in the business in regards. He still has Paul Heyman there, who Paul Heyman himself says, I'm a Triple H Paul Levesque guy. I've seen, and to be able to call him out the way he did at the Hall of Fame tells you that WWE is in the right hands right now. You got to hope and pray that TKO doesn't take him out of it for whatever reason, because right now it's just at an all-time high. I mean, you don't know who's going to get a push. You don't know, it's fun again. It's fun again. Wrestling is becoming fun again, especially WWE, and WWE leading that charge where, and again, you would hope that maybe Tony Khan says, you know what, let me take a step back. Let me go get maybe, I have Billy Gunn back there. I have Arn Anderson, whomever. Let me get one of these guys to help me make these stories. Let me go call a Bubba Ray Dudley to come in. Or if you don't feel that, a Tommy Dreamer or whomever. Someone who's a great mind in this business, who knows what the hell they're talking about, knows how to make a story, and help them. Look, just like McMahon, you're the guy who says, I want this guy to be my world champion. Okay, well then let's make that championship run mean something, i.e. Cody Rhodes, whatever that way we debate how it should have gone or whatever, but it meant something in the end. You knew you would say, hey, it's him beating Roman. I'm like, hey, no, it's just him win the WWE title. But we both know there's a story to that, where sometimes some of these matches is like, or back then was like you said, how the hell did this guy come back? Even though the Brock Lesnar Cody Rhodes matches back and forth were a lot of fun, it's kind of like that was very random. How the hell did that come out of nowhere? When was the relationship where I have Brock Lesnar as my tag team partner now? Like, how? When the hell did they become? You know what I mean? And
you had fun. You had fun during those matches.
Yeah, I thought they were fun. Brock Lesnar versus Cody. I liked them.
That's why they booked him. But God, it was awful. It made no sense.
We're gonna have a lot of fun on this show. Yes. Right? I know we are. Very quick. You had Becky Lynch promo. We know Damage Control came out. We talked about that. We both shook our heads at Valkyra, whatever her name is. She had a match. She defeated Dakota Kai. We had a promo by Sami Zayn. Last match, main event of the night, mega match. Saw bits and pieces of this. I didn't see the full thing, but I'm gonna watch it because I love both these guys. Sheamus, Gunther, they're fun. World Championship vibe to it. Pay-per-view vibe to it. Did you get to see this match in its entirety?
Yeah. I don't miss Sheamus matches. Sheamus. Just banger. Just banger. That's all you guys need to know. You knew Gunther was going to win because we all know Gunther is going to win this whole entire tournament. The first person that proclaims they're going to win the King of the Ring always wins it. That's just a fact of life. This was great. Doesn't matter if I knew the outcome or not. Anytime Sheamus and Gunther get into a ring for 21 minutes, you watch and you enjoy and you appreciate it. Even if Sheamus is a little bit out of shape right now, he still puts on amazing matches, hard hitting like you'd imagine. The one thing I like about Gunther, the best thing about Gunther, he can win with a powerbomb, a Boston Crab, a sleeper, just a gut wrench, anything. He doesn't have a finisher. He's one of the rare wrestlers where he's just going to beat you in many, many ways. He's a 5-tool. Hell, CM Punk called himself a 5-tool player. No, Gunther is a 5-tool player. Gunther's on top of the world right now. And Sheamus is that perfect opponent for him. He's like, dude, there was 2 minutes into the match. Sheamus's whole chest was already beat red.
I did see that. At the finish, when he tapped out. First off, and again, I love the finish. I love how they finished it to that traditional move. But you look at his chest when he goes to do the pump, and it's like all little beats in red. I'm like, God dang, dude.
Yes, they just beat the holy crap out of each. It's like some guys, and I'm not in the back. I have no connections, but you feel like some guys in the back are like, hey, we got to go hard tonight. And Sheamus is like, don't I always go hard, brother. And they just went hard on each other. And that's the way wrestling should be sometimes.
See, but that's what's great too, is that you think of the Dragunov and Ricochet, and light heavyweights, and you know what they're going to do. But then when you're a heavyweight, like Sheamus and Gunther, you're like, that's going to be a bloodfest in regards of power and hitting. And I mean, you look at their bodies and you're like, God dang, like I don't want to be in the ring with Gunther ever. There's some guys you go like, they're really like, as a person, you're like, I don't feel that, in reality, would I be nervous to go? No, but Gunther's that guy. It's like, I don't ever want him smacking my chest. It was like Big Show. When Big Show would put you in the corner or put the guy in the corner and smack this, you knew that hurt. You knew that was going to hurt you.
Who's that guy that you think you can beat up? You just mentioned it. You said, I'm not saying. Who's that
some guy? I don't want to put names out there.
Hey, I'll name Orange Cassidy. I'll beat him up.
Okay, that's one. Well, I'm a 14-time world champion, first of all, so I'm not nervous with anybody. Okay, let's just be real. All right, I could get the belt out right now. I feel good. I have a bad hip. I got to get a hip replacement eventually. My shoulder's killing me. I'm in pain all the time, but I can still do it.
You can still go.
I still go right now. I'll take Orange Cassidy's damn pocket thing. I can't. He's an unbelievable dude. No hate. Whatever.
I know. No hate.
But anyway, we got 4 more minutes, but we kind of went a little over, but we went over, but that's okay. I think we're having fun.
It's the overrun, brother. AEW Masters, the overrun.
That's right. That's right. Well, when you're having fun, you lose time, but at least I'm having fun. But we talked about the bloodline. I mean, you touched on it a little earlier. Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, that story within the bloodline. Roman Reigns said he had the issue, the way he recruited basically Jey Uso to force himself to acknowledge him. Who's going to win? Sammy betrays or turns on Roman, even though he forced his hand. We're sitting there at the edge of our seats during that match. Does Jey help him? It's long-term storytelling. They've said that before, and the story's still going, obviously. We see where it's going now, kind of. I have a different mindset. I don't know about, I don't know where it's, in regards of who's really in charge. It's Solo. I know they're going to bring in, I think, trying to remember his name right now. Jacob. Is it Jacob?
Fatu.
I know they're going to bring him in. I'm excited about seeing that. I love the rogue faction type of thing where Paul Heyman's kind of like, oh crap, and I am with you where I think he could recruit Jimmy and Jay. Hey, I need you guys. You're my brother. Even though they're cousins, you're my brothers. Help me with this. I'm actually hoping Rock's the one kind of leading, being that background leader of Solo. But we'll see. However, WWE has had a lot of great storylines in history. We go, feuds and whatever, whether it's Steve Austin and The Rock and Triple H and whatever, and Triple H with Stephanie and the McMahon era and all this one. There's been a lot of good ones, but and probably over, not really, but Austin McMahon. This one here, the bloodline, which continues, and I know you've said you're not really into the secondary group right now. However, I believe, I'll start off with that and I'll let you roll with it and we finish it up. I believe this is the best storyline WWE has ever done. Obviously, Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman's fingerprints are all over this. They've worked together. Roman Reigns has said that it's a group effort, between Jimmy, Jay, Paul, obviously Triple H is involved in that with Roman. And then he also said, and Sami Zayn, he said that during his documentary, and obviously Sami, when he's probably was involved with the bloodline. I think it's amazing. It's emotionally investing. You get invested in that story. What's going to happen? Is someone going to betray? Is this going to happen? What happened with Cody Rhodes? I think it is the best storyline in WWE ever. I think it is. I'm not trying to take away. I'm sure you might bring up something to me and say, well, what about this one? Oh shit. But I think right now that is the best storyline in WWE history. And I'm really excited because we're still invested in it. Right now we're like, I don't know about this whole Solo thing, which is kind of crazy that he went winless ever since John Cena. And all of a sudden he's this leader and all this one. That's why I'm hoping The Rock is really the boss. And that kind of proves it when he says the tribal chief. You didn't talk to the tribal chief. No, I have. My orders of the tribal chief. And they're like, holy crap, it's The Rock. We'll see. But I think it is the best story because everyone's still invested in it. What are your thoughts?
It's hard to say it's not the best story. The only thing that comes close to it in my mind is the one that saved WWF, and that's Austin and Vince.
That's fair.
I mean, that's honestly like they were the reason why they won the Monday Night Wars, and they're the reason why they were the juggernauts they were. That's the reason why wrestling was cool. I mean, you got to look at the ratings, right? Back then, I know there was a lot less television channels, but you got to think every single night, all those people watching wrestling. There's not even it's a small percentage now. Back then, it was Rock and Austin, Vince and Austin. What did they do? Oh my gosh, did you see Mankind was in the hospital and trying to cheer up Vince, and then all of a sudden Austin was there. It was a whole. You just remember those moments. Oh, remember that time he put cement in Vince's car? The beer bath. There's just so much iconic moments you get from the Austin Rock and Vince era, like the whole era. I'm sorry, but the storyline in general, your action storylines. Vince and Austin, in my mind, if you gun to head said, Josh, what is it? Bloodline or Rock and Austin? Austin and Vince. It's Austin and Vince to me. Because that was my childhood. That's nostalgia. That's what happened when we were kids. Now, there's going to be people that are kids now or younger people that tell us, hey, the Bloodline's the best one. You're telling me the Bloodline's the best one. It's the longest one. And that's probably the most in-depth one, and the one that's been most fluid. It's been so fluid where you go here, you go there. Started out with Roman wearing the gold glove with Jay. Then they get Jimmy back. And there's just so much going on. And it's going to go full circle where the original Bloodline will rejoin to take on the bad Bloodline. That's going to happen. And that's why it's on the level as Austin and Vince. But it'll never be as big. In 20 years from now, will people still be wearing Tribal Chief Bloodline t-shirts like they're still wearing Austin 316 t-shirts? Will people still pretend like they're stunning their boss or whoever, just like they're will people still be pretending they're doing the Superman punch? My point is this: is there one main bad guy and one main good guy, like Superman and I don't even watch DC, so let's go to another thing. Professor X and Magneto, right? Or Scooby-Doo and the Ghost, or whoever. Like that's the main. That's the thing that's what gets me about that. There was always just Vince and Austin, and they did do this, like, oh, the corporation or the Rock, or they would add wrinkles into, oh, we got the Big Show coming in for you, Paul White, right? There was always some kind of thing. With the Bloodline was, oh, now it's against Sammy. Now it's Jay. Now we're doing this thing with Rock. Now we're doing this thing with The Rock. Now, so there is so much into it. But when you break down the Bloodline's greatest like rivalry, or who was their greatest foe, or who was their greatest, antagonist, protagonist, whatever you want to say about it, you can't really, it's always just centered around Roman. Roman's the one key. Whereas there's no Austin without Vince. There's no Vince without Austin. But there's always a bloodline because you don't need anyone else but Roman.
So, you said, will anybody still have a Bloodline shirt? I would
20 years from now. Think about it.
I think people will be doing this. I think people will still be doing this. I think yes, I do believe that. I can't argue with Vince and Austin. Obviously, that saved WWF from WCW. That helped win the Monday Night Wars. That story. As the NWO, I still have my NWO shirt. I have NWO shirt. I love the NWO. It's the look of kind of the tribute here with our outline or graphics. I think the Bloodline will still be prominent in regards of fans' appreciation and whatnot 20 years from now. I will say about the Bloodline story, I'm not taking anything away or disagreeing with you because I understand your points. I will say, though, whose careers were boosted, and really it's one, I think, but whose careers were boosted, or maybe two, I guess, from the Vince Austin story. Austin. Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon's character, but really Steve Austin became Stone Cold Steve Austin, second, or right there with Hulk Hogan. I'm going to say second. He's right there with Hogan. Him and Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania, Stone Cold, the merchandise sales, etc. Where the Bloodline, look what they were able to do with Sami Zayn. Look what they did with Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso. They've made guys to main event guys. You know, obviously it centers around Roman Reigns. He is the son within that universe. Obviously, he's the Mecca. But what they've been able to do, I mean, Jay has been able to break off from the Bloodline story and whatever. Now is main event Jey Uso. He would not be that if it wasn't for the Bloodline storyline. He could have been the Usos, one of the best tag teams ever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But he was never main event Jay without the Bloodline. Sami Zayn was fun NXT with Kevin Owens and, you know, Kevin Steen, whatever you want to call him. That was fun, you know, the mat, whatever. But he would have just been a mid-tier dude. He would have been just that. It was the Bloodline story where he was able to bring in this character that no one else gave a damn really about, or especially The Office. Nobody cared about it. But when he came in and brought that comedic relief, but also that believable underdog feel to it, because we knew Roman Reigns was quote unquote the big dog, no pun intended. We knew that. We knew Jimmy and Jay, or especially Jay, had an issue with Sami, and Sami worked so hard to build that relationship within that story. And then only for them to finally be buddies after the War Games, and it felt like, holy crap, there was, and then had to turn. You felt that turn. You know, it's, to me, that's what makes it great. That's what made that, and what it's doing now, that you're able to break Jimmy off, break Jay off. Roman's taking a break. That story's still going. It's not as good because the main piece is not there. I think Paul Heyman is still selling because of his facial expressions. You see that it's not everything's all right in the world, in the Bloodline. Something's going on that's not working. So it's not Paul, you know, Roman Reigns, you know, him and Paul, we know are close. Roman has said, I'm not here without Paul Heyman. When the day Paul Heyman leaves, I'm gone. He said that at the Hall of Fame, paraphrasing, I'm sure, but he said that. We know how close they are. So to see where it's kind of going, and you kind of hope, oh, maybe Rock's the one leading this. You know, when Roman Reigns finally shows up, it's going to go down, and we are all going to be glued into that TV, because now it's not about Cody Rhodes anymore. It's not about Sami Zayn over here, or Randy Orton, or LA Knight, or Logan Paul, all these other guys who try to attack. It's going to be about Roman, Jay, Jimmy, if that's the case, versus these guys, the Bloodline. You're going to have, remember, NWO Black and Red. Now, hopefully it doesn't go that route, but it's going to make you want to invest until that epic conclusion. Maybe that epic conclusion eventually is Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 42 or 41, whatever it's supposed to be. So I'm saying my point. I'm not disagreeing with you, because I get it. Because that is, I mean, that is proven to be, that helped win the Monday Night Wars. People started tuning in, like you said. People always wanted to say screw you to your boss and do what Austin did. And, you know, it was fun. And McMahon, it made the Mr. McMahon character. Everyone hated Mr. McMahon. They all hate him more now, obviously, but they all hated him. That made that for sure. But, and obviously it saved WWF. But at the same time, like, did it make you really care about every other character except for Austin? Where the Bloodline has so many stories within it that all really connects back, but it also has made these guys bigger than what they should have been. That's the impact that the Bloodline story has had, and it will continue, because Tama Tonga and Tua Tonga, whatever his other name is, I'm forgetting the other guy's name. Those guys are just coming in. Jacob Fatuza to come in here. These are other guys that are coming in and going to suck at the nibble, basically, of the Bloodline, and probably going to be major stars because of this story.
Yep.
That's what makes this story great. That's just my opinion.
It's great. I want to give my predictions now.
Yeah.
About the Bloodline and how it's going to end. It's going to end this year, or WrestleMania. Cody's going to drop the title to The Rock at SummerSlam. Unfortunately. Sorry, guys. Rock's going to come out as a champion.
Oh, I agree. I think you're right.
SummerSlam. By Survivor Series War Games, we're going to have Team Rock, Team Roman in the War Games. I don't think that's going to happen. And then we get Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania for the title. Roman wins it back at WrestleMania against The Rock. He's now the tribal chief, and that's how the story ends. Done. Roman's a set baby face for the rest of his life.
And he could ride off in the sunset, drop the title the next year. That's it for him. You know, he could do it. I love that. I think you're right, because I know everybody say, oh, no, WrestleMania 41 to be Cody versus Rock. No, I don't think that. I think that's going to be a SummerSlam Survivor Series. I think you're right. I think you're going to have, and Rock's going to show up to be, hey, I'm the tribal chief. This is my bloodline. So that's when you're going to have your OG versus the Rogue. You know,
I think it's going to be, they got to get, if it's not Sammy, though, I'm telling everyone right now, if Sammy's not involved, it's a failure. It's a failure. He needs to be involved. He needs to be on Team Roman. Has to
Gosh,
be.
can you imagine the craziness that would be if that went down?
Think about this. Just imagine. You'll know this about me, Bobby, soon. If you watch Real Talk Wrestling, everyone knows. I like to dabble into the devil lettuce at night, and I think about these things. Just imagine war games. Like, hey, are you gonna be there, Sammy? You're gonna like Jay, like, go, dog, we need you, like, because they're still it's 4-on-3 at this
Planted
point.
that seed with Paul Heyman looking at Jay, kind of solo, even said, "Dude, are you trying to say something?" That he looked at Jay like, they're planting that seed.
But like, imagine that pop, like, dog, we need you there, we need you there. In the war games, we're still unsure if he's gonna show up and help them out because Sammy's still like, I don't know, you guys kind of like. And then boom, we hear Sammy's music, just like we heard Randy Orton's. Like, right? Is Randy gonna be there?
Or Sting back in the day. Sting, I need you. I need you to help me with the NWO. Are you, Team NWO or are you Team WCW? And then Sting shows up. The pop that happened is true. You're absolutely right.
If we get that Sammy like at the last minute of War Games, he shows up as the fourth member, and like everyone's like, and Roman's like, wow, he came. Like everyone's like, oh shit. And then all of a sudden, but in the end of but who wins that match? Like that's the thing. Because if you keep Rock, if you I guess you could pin one of these losers, like not Solo, but the Tonga guys. Because that keeps honestly, that keeps Rock and then like safe. But I'm just excited for that. But does it end? Is the Bloodline officially over after WrestleMania this year? I would hope so. Because I think it's run its time. It's run its course.
Again, it really just depends on where that quote unquote story is. I mean, because you gotta, if Jimmy and let's say Jay and Sammy come back, they're not going to be Bloodline. I mean, they may be like, like Evolution, you show up for one night, you wear the shirts and then you're done, that you go back your separate ways, then you could kind of ride off in the sunset, and Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns are the champion, you let them have their thing. Solo goes on to a solo career. Tamatonga and his brother are tag champs with Jacob Fatu or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or they could kind of run with the Bloodline as the faction or whatever, kind of be the nuisance. You think about it, but, and then you're right. And then WrestleMania comes on. It's Rock versus Roman. It's an epic story. It's a story that people wanted to end. Roman goes over, and then there's your conclusion. And Roman's still the tribal chief. He's still Roman Reigns. It's just everyone else now is on their merry way. And he could feud with Solo that year. That feud with Solo kind of carry out. Does he drop the title to Solo? Does he drop it to someone else on the undercard? We'll see. But that's what makes all what you just said, and how crazy it would be to see Sami Zayn or Jay come out and be a part of that story, or to come back. That's what makes the Bloodline the best storyline in WWE history. That right there, because you start to get excited when you're talking those things. It's crazy because how many years are we doing this with the Bloodline, and you're still going, NWO is the greatest faction to me. I love the Four Horsemen. I love the NWO, Evolution, et cetera, et cetera. But after a few years, it kind of ran its course. In reality, they went to Wolfpack. Then you had NWO Elite, and then you had, the NWO was the Beeb faction, and all of a sudden with Jeff Jarrett, and it was like, what the hell is this? Mm-hmm. Where Bloodline is going on how many years, and it's still, people are still invested in that story. They're still into this. So it's going to be an interesting thing. I can't wait to continue this show to see how this goes. We'll get into next week. We'll follow up on Raw, AEW, SmackDown. If anything major happens around the world of wrestling too, whether it's TNA or New Japan or whatever, if we're real, we'll talk about that. We'll have to figure out how to see it if we could get to it. But I want to do that, get some interviews done. But I've had a lot of fun. We are 2 hours in. We have some people, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, whatever, YouTube, we appreciate you watching. We hope that if you're watching anywhere else other than YouTube, come on over, hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to be on every week, Saturday night, whether an hour or 2 hours, whatever, it depends on how much fun we're having. Yeah, this was fun, man. I had a blast. Josh, any final words before we wrap this up?
I can't believe we got more viewers in Collision. I just can't believe that.
Call us, Tony. We'll show you.
No, man, this is fun. Thanks for having. Oh, not thanks for having me on. Thanks for inviting me to co-host with you, because you're right. When we talk privately, I'd be very upset if you didn't say, "Hey, Josh, I have a wrestling idea that I want to get done on Saturday nights." I'm always down. Wrestling is my passion, guys, and please, every single Saturday night. We're going to hear breaking down AEW, WWE, anything big. Ric Flair going nuts in the pizza place. We got it covered. We're gonna talk about everything. This is just like an introduction show.
That's right. This is an intro show. We'll get more cleared out as the thing getting to be a little more clean in regards to presentation, whatever. But I think it was great. I think we had a lot of fun. So until then, guys, we appreciate you, and we'll see you next Saturday night.
It's the Fins Talk Sports Network, FTSN, talking major sports and even wrestling. Bobby Fins Talk and his FTSN crew, they're taking deep dives just to entertain you. Talking Dolphins, Heat,